Podcast, episode 104. Look at Christian. Look at his
Blowing
background.
my nose.
The thing in his face.
I'm blowing my nose. The guy starts the show on me.
I told you I was starting the recording. How could I hold it up once it started? I'm not that powerful. I'm not the all-powerful C. I don't control the fucking...
I have editing capabilities, though.
Oh, you're going to edit yourself up? You're going to... What could you
I'll
put up
fade
to your
in.
face? Put in a Tim Hortons coffee instead. Just for a second. See, here's mine.
Where did I put it? Yeah.
Just get a
I
coffee
like this.
cup.
I can finally look at my face while we record. Hey, stop covering my face.
Oh! Oh, that was weird looking, too. Holy shit. Because of the background, it looked like it was fake. Oh, look at that.
looks like he has webbed fingers there. Do that again.
Yeah.
Look, he's got skin between his fingers. Got webbed fingers.
Oh, wow, look at that. Yep, that's pretty wild. And it's perfect. It's perfect because he's covering his own face. It works fucking beautifully.
That's exactly what I said.
I know.
And
I'm not
I
even
did
saying
this.
it as a joke. So now if I ever do that, I gotta sit like this on the whole show. I'll just sit on the side. Hey guys.
This is a cool new feature.
Holy shit.
Two girls,
Seriously.
one C. Two girls, one C, right there.
You're on top of it. You're on top of it, man. You know, I'm gonna give you props just because somebody messaged something today about it. Somebody, I think it was Adolfo, put something up on the newest show, and it's a little long, but I'm gonna put C over right now, just because as long as we're talking about his tech work and everything else, this is what he says. Adolfo commented on 103, which recently dropped. Another great show, fellas. I really love B breaking down Under the Skin for everyone. So there you go. You get props too, B. I really loved it the first watch, and nothing changed this watch for the show. Something else. I never mentioned the visual editing C did for the video version of the show before, but yes, the pin 2 on the move poster, the intruder cover featured on Fangoria popping up, and even pin fading into Christian's face was hilarious and should continue to be present in the video version of the show. Man, mention that next episode he's pinned the whole time. I didn't even know he did
that. I forgot I did that. Well, in the show, I'm like, watch, I'm going to turn into Pin. And then as I was editing it, I'm like, oh, shit, I got to actually turn into Pin.
I wanted to be there during the editing process when you said, oh, shit, I got to turn into Pin.
Yeah, I should have put that in. Because I film myself 24/7. So I could just edit aspects of my life into the show.
Oh, man. Fucking skunk.
Okay, well, there's more. What's he say? Intruder, pin. We're watching the video version of the show, so keep up the great work. Even the "Don't eat the brown pads" quote inserted into the video of episode 103 reinforced the comedic gold. LOL. I will admit, back in the day, I couldn't be hyped for a review of The Craft, but damn, I am with Dave this viewing. Oh, okay, there's props for me too. I legit didn't. I just read this an hour ago when I woke up. It's been a while since I've seen this one. And this time around, it felt like seeing it for the first time, and I enjoyed the elements that made it a classic. I am not high on it as Z, but can appreciate all the love he gives it. Your review and the debate shed some new light on the story for me. I got to agree with Travis Maxwell, not Maxwell, sorry, I always say that, on this one. Exploding heads fucking rule. Love you guys and keep up the great work. Cheers. So there you go.
Awesome.
Nice. Awesome.
Someone else raved about your passion for the film, and I gotta hand it to you. You have passion, and that passion came through. That's what made me feel like a heel. I was a heel in that review because I just shut down. But
You were a heel because you made me play the heel, even though I liked the movie. I was like, C's not gonna argue it. I'll argue it, even though I like it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see, so of course B had to be. It could have been a relaxed show, but because you stated your opinion at the very beginning or prior
He's
to
just
watching.
like, he's like, fuck this movie next, and I'm just like, what? We gotta argue this for an hour.
we never fucked the movie next. But I did. I kind of like just closed down.
Yeah. You know, there's something else I thought. I did not mention this on the show about The Craft, and
Oh.
I wanted to simply put up a picture. It's one of my favorite shots of the film. It's when they're walking down the hallway, and then Nancy it's when they're all done up and they're all dolled up and they're all happy. They just got their powers and they're doing all this. So I wanted to put up a picture underneath that because I just liked that picture and I wanted to say something about it. I go, well, Nancy thanks you or something I was going to say. And I was going to put that. She looks just stunning in that shot. And I wanted to put it up there. So I Googled The Craft hallway walking scene or something or other. And then I realized that they did that second shot to show the night and day difference between an earlier shot they did of the film. Earlier on in the movie, when Nancy is walking, I don't know if you can recall, but she's holding her books and her hair's pulled in front of her face and she has a pissed off look, and the other two girls are walking with her. They're all walking down the hallway. It's in the beginning because the kids make fun of her. They go, oh, wait a minute. They go, witches, or whatever the fuck they say. So the fact that they had that early shot of those three walking down the hall then later on in the film, they show them all cock of the walk, all happy, walking down the hallway. Blowing.
Cock of the walk?
What? Cock of the walk.
Cock of the walk.
There's another shirt.
Cock of the walk, yes.
Cock of the walk, coming on episode 1010.
1010. Yeah, you guys missed that one.
Have.
I don't know. We do got to get on them. Yeah, we got to get on the shirts and then see what they want. You're right. But anyway, I thought that was such a smart choice to use, them walking earlier and then them coming back. And I never realized it watching the movie until I did the Google search for the images. I'm like, wow, one more thing about the movie that I thought was clever. So I had to put that over. I had to mention that. In the end, there was something else about the craft, but Heathers ripped it off intentionally. There's a hallway scene in Heathers with them walking down the hall together, and it was made to mimic the craft because they were attributing the craft. Same type of thing.
Mean Girls has
I thought Heathers came out way before the craft.
Oh, wait a minute.
Heathers came out in the 80s.
Oh,
then maybe
that's
it's
right.
the other way around. Then maybe the craft was
ripped off.
Heathers.
That's it. I gotta drop my rating.
Well, either way, because I've never seen Heathers, so what do I know? I keep saying I'm gonna watch it one of these days. I
think 80.
Oh, wait a minute.
89.
It's not.
Right.
Stop it! It's not fucking Heathers. It's the movie I confuse it with Heathers. Jawbreaker came out a few years later after the craft. No. Jawbreaker came out after the craft, and they tributed the craft by doing the walking down the hallway scene. There it is. Okay. So craft was the originator. Don't fuck with it.
Nobody's ever walked down a hallway before the craft.
No one's cocked the walk before?
Cock the walk.
Cock of the walk. You never heard that expression before? The cock of the walk?
No.
What?
I don't think I have.
Is that for real, Dave?
What do you think? I just made that up off the top? Of course it's for real.
Yeah.
I've never heard anyone in my entire 40 years say that.
Are you kidding me? Cock of the walk. As a matter of fact, there's a restaurant called Cock of the Walk. It just came up. It was the first thing. That's how popular of a slogan this is. Cock of the Walk. It's in Nashville, Tennessee. But anyway, the Cock of the Walk idioms by Free Dictionary. Okay, see, so someone who dominates. Oh, this means something. One who is arrogant and narcissistic. Someone who acts more important than others in a group. So, Cock of the Walk.
I agree you're an idiom.
Well, that's what it says. A conceited, bossy person. Since his last promotion, he's been acting like the cock of the walk. So there you go. The cock of the walk means...
Dave is the cock of the walk in this group. It says someone who dominates others within a group.
Aww.
Cock of the walk.
Well, they were all acting like the
cock of the walk to you too, my darling.
The bell of the ball.
Cock of the walk, because they were all acting like...
the bell of the ball, the cock of the walk. Top of the morning.
Just like Top of the Pops. You didn't know what that meant, and I had to you know.
Top of the Pops? I know Top of the Mops.
Well, that's why I said Top of the Mops, because Top of the Mops derived from Top of the Pops, because I was saying something on that show. Like, oh, he's acting like all of a sudden they're Top of the Pops, and you thought it was funny, and then later on it became Top of the Mops, but somehow I'm tied into all those old phrases. I don't know how.
You are, yeah. You know all these weird phrases.
Weird, isn't it? Well, because you know what? Fuck the new phrases. How's that? They suck. They're not going to last.
New phrases is like 90s horror to Dave.
Well, what do you mean?
It's true. I don't even know any new phrases.
You're making me the heel of 90s horror?
No, just because you announced it. You know what? I actually did a list. Remember how when we came up with the top 100? Remember 4 shows back? We came up with that massive list.
Remember 5 weeks ago?
No, I don't. With us, it's true though. Me and Brandon. I don't know.
Really don't.
So we made the list up, and we said I'm going to go back and start doing other decades. So I actually took a swing at the 70s. 70s was difficult. because there's a lot of movies that I had to throw on there that I'm going by like what is universally accepted that maybe I haven't seen yet. Some old Hammer or newer Hammer, I guess, in that regard. 80s was easy. 90s, I had 101 movies, but that included things like Bride of Chucky.
Yeah.
Prophecy 2 to round out. Yeah, like they're so I will have to give it a final go through, but I've got 100 films from the 90s that I could
appreciate it if instead of calling it your top 100, if you call it your top 100.
Wait a minute. So you're gonna get 100 great movies from the 90s? You're telling me?
No, we has the
great
Prophecy
is relative.
2
Top 100. That's it. It's a top 100. You're dealt a hand. You got to use what you've got, right?
Well, here's what I suggest you do. Go back and listen to last year's episodes of Duncan's show, the summer series, the Teapots, because we took every year, 1990 through 99, and every year everybody brought, long story short, but at the end of each episode, we discussed 10 movies of that decade. So that's a good jumping off point. You can hear things you may not have heard before, etc. And, we could talk about movies that didn't make the cut that we were going to bring in. So we literally probably, if you look at the series, you'll probably hear about, 100 movies plus another, 20 something. I'm just saying it's a quick reference instead of just Googling 100 movies of the 90s, because you know how it is with podcasts. When you Google movies of something, not everything comes up. Like I was trying to do that thing from 1980, right? Because Marco put that thing on the page. Was it Marco or was it James? Either way, somebody put it on the page, and they said top 10 movies of the 80s. So I Googled it. Top 10 movies.
I love you guys. I'm joking. Sing a song quick, Dave.
Sing a song. Make it simple to last the whole show long. Don't worry that it's not good enough for anyone else to hear. But sing a song. There you go. How's that?
Perfect.
You said sing a song. I sing a song. Yeah, quota filled. Whew, it wasn't the best singing, but hey. Okay.
I got you off track, but I insulted our friends, so
that's okay. We don't need to be right. We don't need to be on track. We should, I guess, address this thing that's been going on with officially now. We mentioned it at the beginning of our last show, but maybe we should tell the patrons how we're going to proceed with everybody's picks coming in. Just in case they're not on the page or don't read it here, or you know what I mean, just to be official, because we kind of came up with like an official thing. Because here's the thing. We're so happy because so many people have signed up, and it's all the right people, because everybody's really cool, and we all have a good time on the page and at Patreon and everything, and here, you know what I mean? It's awesome. But we have got a lot more coming in for reviews than we initially anticipated, and it's great. It's not a complaint. However, there's only room for so many per month. So what we've decided is, beginning on the 1st of every month, that's when you put it in for the next month. So May 1st is coming. When May 1st comes in, put in for June. Just a tip. Put it in. Because we didn't realize that we were going to make this move, we already had the first show of May already planned out. But then more were coming in. We got to figure something out here before it gets out of control, because we don't want this to turn into something where, we don't want to do on a regular basis more than 3 movies a show. It just, you guys, nobody would want that. We wouldn't want it. You guys wouldn't like what we're doing. There's less room for us to bullshit and everything else, and it wouldn't be as fun. So we decided to cap it off at 3 a show, unless it's a situation where we're doing a franchise and it's a 4 or whatever. But yeah, ordinarily, well, even if it's more, I don't think we're going to do that. Like, I think if we have a franchise that's 8 movies, we're just going to cut it in half or whatever. You're right, though. You never know. But so what we're going to do is we're going to have everything come in on the 1st of each month, and whoever puts them in, it'll be first come, first serve. We'll go on. We plan to do 3 movies a show, because that's what we have to do now. 3 shows a month, no more than that. And that's basically it. Now, maybe you guys can jump in there, because there's some caveats, and I'm trying to remember everything, because I know we discussed it.
I thought we discussed it last show. We actually, it's in episode 103.
We said something.
And then I think we put it on the page and people chimed in, and it seems to be well received.
Yeah,
from what I
think basically what it comes down to is, in the future, we will take your money and not cover any of the movies you pick.
Well, listen, we waited out in discussion. We didn't have any of this stuff finalized last show.
Better if we don't chime in.
Because what I wanted to say is we were talking about it, and we were saying we have to make sure that there's one show per month that is just the feature review people. That like if somebody because we decide, preference has to be if somebody is going to put big bucks down for a franchise, we're going to have to do it. And I have to do it on the first of the month because there's only so much room. So if one guy does a franchise and it happens to be, 8 movies, and then another guy does a trilogy, well, then now we have a quandary. So we have to make it where it's fair, and the people that are just doing one feature review don't get pushed back a month. So we're gonna make sure that we have one show a month that's just for the feature reviews. So 3 individual reviews from 3 different people. So of course, there's the other options out there with the double features and everything else, but we just want to make sure that you guys know everything will be covered. We will figure out a way to do it, and nobody, right? And I don't think it would be. I don't think anybody should be pushed off 2 months in a row. So if somebody's pushed off one month, then by next month by default, they get a spot. You cannot have your pick 2 months in a row. I mean, we don't have that many people. I mean, we have a lot and we're happy for it, but I mean, there's no reason unless it's some ridiculous thing where it's a real long franchise and something else. But it is what it is. So.
And we said it, and I guess we'll reiterate. We'll make it work.
Yeah.
We'll work out the details of that and how we have to do it, but we're gonna make it work.
And double features. Chris, aka Scott, has come up with an idea. He asked us, he goes, listen, I was looking at the top 100 list. How can I put together my own double feature based on movies from that list? I'm like, well, what is the double feature? Because we want to make sure it's a match. And he says, Clown and Terrifier. Yeah. 2 movies about clowns. Okay, great. Why not? So we're accepting that. So he's going to bump up to the next level and do a double feature and pick 2 off of that list. So I guess somebody, if they wanted to throw something together, now that we've done that, that's okay. If you want to come up with your own, as long as it's off, huh?
They could be crafty with it.
Yeah, she's crafty. She gets around. Yeah, she should be crafty. She's
always
Can we stop talking about craft?
I agree.
Well, no, he wanted to do the craft and the witch. So now we're going to have to do it because they're about witches. And we will not repeat a review unless it happens to be for a franchise show. Like if somebody asks us to do Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I think it would be kind of lame if we just put our old Texas Chainsaw Massacre review.
We'll just do a clip show.
I believe that would be the only repeat we would possibly ever have to do, thinking about it.
You're right, because we did the Psycho sequels already.
Yeah.
And
so that's
yeah.
I mean,
that'd
technically,
be the only review. Maybe Amityville, but we're never doing that. That franchise doesn't really exist in a
Hellraiser, but we would never do. I mean, not that we wouldn't do, but if somebody picked Hellraiser, we've already done the first 3, so
Well, never say never.
They would have to pick 4 on. I wouldn't recover one.
I agree with that. That's too many. But if somebody said, here, I want to propose to you, here's $200, do the Amityville series, I think we would do it.
Amityville? We would do it.
It's
$200?
It's such a bizarre... It doesn't even really flow. It's like you just throw the title on it, though.
You're
Makes
right.
no sense to me.
We'd have to figure out what was canon. We'd have to go and research it. We can't just have any, because the 3 of us, our movie could be called Exploding Heads Amityville if you wanted it to. So that doesn't count. It's got to be something somewhat canon. You know what I mean? Cannon fodder, yes. Like, I wouldn't mind talking about the last couple that came out. The Amityville Murders and the other one that, what's her name was in, Jennifer Jason Leigh, and the other prequel, whatever the hell. There's a little intrigue there to talk about fucking Dollhouse, and what isn't a bad movie. We discussed it on 22 Shots for one of those years, remember?
Yeah,
Dollhouse is better than some of the ones that came out.
Yeah.
Dollhouse is better than Bloodline. Oh, wrong franchise.
Fucking guy.
So anyway, the bottom line is we're gonna get the picks done. We're gonna
What are you looking to there? What was that?
That's the joke. Nobody.
I know I have more stuff. I know I have more notes and things, but we'll get.
Would you mind deleting those?
We'll get to it in between the reviews because we can't just say that's what it is. If we ever had 4 reviews, there'd be none of this shit at all. We would come on, Bada boom, bada bing, bada bing. Review. Peace out. And I don't think people want that out of our show. I know we don't want that out of the show. I mean, a franchise is one thing. It's a focus. But I mean.
Wait, I want out of the show.
No, you don't. Now you don't. The patrons. Oh, and speaking of the patrons. No, I'll save that. I'll save that for in-betweens. Okay. So tonight. Go ahead, Steve. I know you're chomping.
I was going to make a joke about we have a guest spot tonight. We have Brandon's hair guesting on the show tonight too.
Nice.
B.
I look like a fucking clown. I look like a clown. Look at that.
You look like Gary Oldman in Bram Stoker's Dracula.
I know, that's exactly what. Dude, I need the economy to open. I don't care if another 100,000 people die in my state. I need a haircut. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, our lawn guy is coming to do our lawn. Maybe I'll just go lay out on the lawn and let him run over me with the lawn.
Let's get on a weed whacker.
My dad wants to get a Flowbee.
No.
Do they still make the Flowbee?
The Flowbee? I don't think so.
My dad wants to get a Flowbee.
No, I don't. You don't remember that thing they put on your hair? It was like an infomercial late at night. It was something.
A lot of people are still using them. Are using them now? Yeah.
Works? Tell me that it works. I didn't know. I had no idea that it worked. Interesting. Mm-hmm. I was trying to look up this girl because I wanted B to do that face they did last show or 2 shows ago, where he looked like that girl Muppet Mouth from Friday 7.
Ghoulie Muppet Mouth.
But I can't find I can't find her picture because I wanted you to do the face and do the comparison. Now with the hair even longer, you might look just like her. But I don't know.
I like her. I always liked her.
Oh yeah, she is pretty. I'm just joking about the Muppet Mouth thing, but she's okay. Isn't that what you were doing? Yeah, you can't find her. There's no. If you go to her like the IMDb and then look at pictures of her, they're not there. The only way to get a picture of her is to make. Well, I know how to do it. You just go to Google and you type it in. New Blood Robin.
Hey, I know how to get an image. You go to Google, you type it in, you hit images.
What an idiot I am. But I don't think you looked like her just now. And it might have been a one-time thing. I don't even know how you made that face. But at that moment, that day, you looked like her with the mouth and everything.
For the second time in the last 2 weeks, there's been like a convoy of motorcycles. They are coming through a subdivision.
Purgatory Saints.
It's Sons of Anarchy. They're coming in. They're invading Canada now. Imagine that. A big biker gang in Canada. Are there a lot of biker gangs in Canada?
There's a lot of choir gangs.
Yeah, choir. Yeah, they all sing on the bikes.
Son of a bitch. Okay, let me go back to the choir.
Frère Jacques.
Dormez-vous.
Dormez-vous.
Yeah,
nobody knows the French don't know the rest.
Fuck you. Yeah. Wait a minute now. I got to thinking about this, and I was gonna come prepared, but I didn't. I should have done some Google or some YouTube searching for Canadian commercials 1980s to back this up.
Search for them. You go on Google.
What am I thinking here? Google.
I wish there was some sort of place where I could just put the information in and ask and receive a bunch of answers.
I'll ask Jeeves.
I'm so used to going to the B. I'll ask Jeeves. Oh, shit.
Man.
What do they call you around here, Jeeves the old boy? Anybody? What movie?
Is that the one we're doing tonight?
It is a fucking movie we're doing tonight. That's why I thought for sure somebody would know. Yes. What do they call you around here, Jeeves the old boy? Grady, sir. Delbert Grady. So yeah.
5 out of 10.
Okay, stop.
For that scene.
That scene's incredible. Okay, hold on. Let's just
incredible.
Let me scale it back. That's the bathroom scene. What do you mean? That is an incredible scene. Okay, let's scale back. Okay. Ontario Place. There used to be a commercial in the 80s, and we'll go, Ontario Place, happy together. That's what I'm saying. It was like
it's called a jingle. Everything has a jingle.
Yeah, but the way they
happiness is Marine Land.
Well, that sounds fine. Yeah, I know Marine Land. Yes. Yeah. Remember that commercial? Oh no, that was African Lion Safari. Remember that one?
That's like down the street. That's like a half an hour,
Yeah.
45 minutes away.
It goes
Yeah, and then there was
African Lion Safari.
and there
Wow.
was something. Everyone
Come to Ghana, dance with me. I need some shoes, please, please, please.
You need
Oh,
some
my
shoes.
Lord. This is
I don't know.
Did you say
Help.
that though?
Help me get tonight's dinner.
shoes,
Catch that
not
chicken.
Jews. Shoes.
Okay, that's what I legit thought he said. I need
I need a
some
pair of Jews.
shoes, please. I'm like, wait a minute. No, I lost the shit. Ooga booga over here. Fucking.
Booga, booga.
It's a jingle. That's a different. If it's a place and it's a jingle, that's different from
No.
a commercial with people singing.
That's what I'm trying to say. Marineland would be. Everyone loves Marineland. It's a regular sounding song, but there were these Canadian commercials like Ontario Place. Ontario Place, happy together. Nobody had
knows
commercials.
more about our culture than we do.
But
He's
don't
lived
you
off
agree-
Canadian TV. This is true, but it's a jingle. It's different from like just going, I'm using Zestfully Clean. I am Zestfully Clean.
It is different, yes, but only
What
in
was that?
Canada. I saw commercials.
I'm usually zestfully clean, using zestfully clean.
No, he said I'm using it. I'm using
zest-
Zest.
Don't even remember.
It was almost as bad as him. A dead person a ghost is a person that used to live and is now dead. Or a person that once walked the earth and is now dead.
That was dead. That used to walk there. Something like that.
I want to get into these movies. I don't
Let's
care
get
about Canadian culture.
Okay. Oh,
F
but
my culture.
one more thing about Canada. Did you know Bob Clark is not Canadian? All these
Bob
years you were
Clark.
wrong. Bob Clark is not Canadian. I happened to listen to a podcast the other day. They were talking about Bob Clark and all these movies, and they said Bob Clark is actually American. He just went to Canada and got some type of temporary citizenship, because of so he can film there.
Max,
Yeah.
He was born in Louisiana,
So he is no Canadian hero. So now,
but
let's-
he got Canadian citizenship.
yeah,
Temper.
but I guess I don't know if I've ever argued. I guess maybe I have said he's Canadian, but yeah,
Not
ultimately, the
everything
movies
good
are
is
bad.
Canadian, Christian.
Have I said that?
Ontario.
Although anybody who's watched the History of Horror, Eli Roth's History of Horror, you've got to be upset that they do not mention either. There's more parts that I've not seen. Have they finished this? Is it done? Because there's
think
7
so.
episodes. There's 7 episodes, right? So there's no mention of David Cronenberg, which is blasphemy. Blasphemy. You can't have a History of Horror not mention David Cronenberg's name. And I don't even
agree.
know. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't even know if he mentions Dario Argento.
You're
I don't even know if they
wrong.
talk about Giallos. I don't think they talk Giallos. They talk slashers. I don't think they talk Giallos.
do they talk Italian horror?
No, but you get like maybe they touch upon it.
Oh.
No, because
This
they have
is
Bay of
season
Blood.
one.
They
It
show.
might be come
I'm
back.
pretty sure they show scenes of Bay of Blood.
Well, in a slasher show, sure, because that's an influence. But do they talk about Suspiria and opera? And do they talk about Blood and Black Lace?
No,
And,
I'm
But
trying to think
Beyond
if they
it's
show.
not a slasher.
I know it's not, but I'm saying, does it come up at some point?
They might.
So
Who
there-
knows? Maybe they'll come
it's-
back with a season 2. Why are you
There's
just
gotta
assuming that
be.
these 7 episodes are just all the history of horror? Even if they don't come back, they just didn't have time to cover everything,
No,
including
blasphemy.
precious Cronin turd.
No, blasphemy. You
Well, why
can't-
not foreign? Why not foreign horror? Why not? Did they not have an episode
They
about
talk
foreign
about Japanese ghosts.
I
Oh, they
believe
do?
We now call it international, not foreign.
Oh, Scott, sorry.
Yeah.
Better be PC over here. Oh, it's a
Yeah,
Me Too
and-
movie. Yeah.
Anyway, that's my only quibble because the show itself is so well produced. It's really fun to watch. But I went through it and go, what the fuck? What? Something's
Yeah.
amiss.
Something is amiss. Well, let's remake it. Exploding Heads: History of Horror.
Oh,
It'll be
God,
movie
here we
number
go.
4.
Well, number 5. Number 4 is our.
Surprisingly,
our
Eli Roth is
Viking.
nowhere to be found in it. We don't talk about Hostel. We don't. Anyway, I watched Frozen again. and it should have been on my list. My top
Just
100.
let it
I
go.
told you. Yes. Just let it go.
Yeah,
I'm never gonna
Elsa's terrific in that.
That was a good joke, though.
That was a good joke. Oh, dude, it is great, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah.
It's a great.
I think it's his best film, actually.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. It's his best film. There's no question about it. Yep.
I disagree.
Do you?
I like Frozen, but I think Digging Up the Marrow is my favorite.
Broke up on my end there.
Digging Up the Marrow is my favorite of his.
Oh, I won't watch Digging Up Romero. So I hear you.
Digging Up Romero.
That could be our 6th movie, Digging Up Romero. Obsessed zombie guys.
You and the body horror. You got to get over your fear of body horror.
It's not body horror. Don't you? No. It's not body horror. They show pictures of actual deformed people. I've heard.
Body horror.
It's not body horror. That's just real life fucking things that are.
And you're scared of it. Body horror.
Yeah, I guess. But
sensitive.
You're scared of the Sentinel, and that's not real. That's not really a Balchinian guy.
Yes, it is.
It is a Balchinian.
That's why I won't watch it again. Yes.
Oh,
it's just like Under the Skin. They cast real people.
About it.
This was a controversy for the film.
For the Sentinel?
Yes, for the Sentinel. The people that you see at the end, not all of them. Yeah, different people that have different physical issues. Yes, they put.
There's really a Balchinian? I thought it was a makeup guy.
Maybe that one in
Men
particular
Black.
could be.
In the Sentinel, it's real. Sorry, Dave, for talking over you there, but I just can't believe Brandon's stupidity.
Listen, I'm confused.
We'll just let the silence there take that joke away. Wash away that turd of a joke.
Like your shirt joke last episode.
I'm confused, man.
Short.
Damn it.
I had no idea Balchinian was real. I thought that was, or that scene had real freaks in it.
What are you confused about?
The Sentinel. I had no idea that scene had.
No, Dave, not you.
I think he's looking it up to just confirm it. I believe you. I don't remember.
No, I don't even want to know. Forget it.
The Sentinel we did so long ago. I didn't realize we talked about that. We might have. Hell, I might have been the one to bring it up. I don't remember.
Like Dave had a problem with the end. Too hard to watch.
Yeah, no, but I just thought that was because of the effects when they do fake body horror effects.
No, that was for real. I think there was a combo, but they used a lot of real deformities.
Wow, I had no recollection of this, but that's cool.
The weird part of it is they cut the real deformities off of the people, and then they put them on as prosthetics on the other actors. I didn't agree with that part.
I want to wear Christian's balls as earrings in our horror movie. Ball earring.
I don't think
man.
we'll capture them on film.
Amazing. Okay, we're good. I don't know, but that's what I heard. There's something going on with that, and so that's not body horror. I mean, body horror like Cronenberg stuff and things invading your own body as a fictional story does make me uncomfortable, but I'll still watch it. But I don't want to look at that. That's not body horror when you look at somebody that has a real life deformity. That's not body horror. That's I don't know what it is. It's just real life. You know what I mean? So that's why I don't want to watch Digging Up the Marrow. Straight up. I don't want to see pictures. They pass them off as monsters in that movie, apparently. They show pictures. They go, look at these people. And I'm not saying they're being exploitive. I'm just saying that I don't want to see pictures of real life cases. It fucks me up. I wish it did. I wish it didn't. I wish I
can't look at it.
I wish it didn't bother me. Believe me, it's fucking plagued me my entire life. So it's fucked up. I wish it didn't. You know? But anyway.
I always get accused of rushing the show along, but we've got a fairly big show here. We're already half an hour in. We've got 3 movies.
We gotta go.
As
we got 3.
We were saying earlier.
We got 3. We got Killer Workout. Let's tell you who they're from. I'll do that at least. But we got Killer Workout, and then we have the double feature of The Shining and Dr. Sleep. And I'm real fucking excited. Real excited about this. Anyone that knows my feelings on The Shining, I mean, I'll try to be quiet to a degree. But Killer Workout comes from George. Yeah, I'll try though. Killer Workout is from George, and The Shining and Dr. Sleep from our homie TMB. So Travis Maxwell Boone, and check out his podcast. I mentioned it last show, but yes. Yeah. Oh damn it! I forgot to listen to that freaking thing. Still, son of a bitch! I forgot to do that, and I did. I forgot something else, and I'll tell you at the end of this review because we got too much. So.
Well, we got to do Killer Workout first because I think it only makes sense to do Shining and Dr. Sleep back to back.
I can dig it. Yeah, Killer Workout.
Oh, does it?
This was selected from George. This one came off of the slasher list because it was my number. I'll look it up exactly. I think it was
Thanks
like
for that, Dave. Thanks for that.
You're so welcome. It
Yeah,
was my
I think this
number
was-
47 or something.
Thanks for having shitty taste in slashers.
Oh, look who's talking.
2.
Look who's talking too. Yeah. God, you fucking suck. You're so much joke.
On the move.
All right, I'll introduce it. Killer Workouts from 1987, written and directed by David A. Pryor. 2 years ago, a young woman named Valerie was burned after entering a tanning salon. Now her twin sister, Rhonda, runs a local gym where all of a sudden people are being murdered.
Wait a minute. Could you say that again? I'm sorry. No, I want to know, please, because there's something I didn't know that you said in that thing. Go ahead, please.
What, the twin sister part?
Yes.
Yeah, that's how they write it up on here.
So is there a twin sister? This is news to me.
No, there's no
No.
twin sister, but that's how they describe it on IMDb.
Well, that's
Okay,
a
I
wrong
want-
description.
Right, that's why I said, hold on a minute. What movie are you talking about? Twins? What is this, The fucking Shining? Twin sisters? They're not even
This
twins.
is the initiation from last week.
This is Killer Workout, and Rhonda even referenced that she's her sister, Valerie, in the movie.
Oh.
So that's
Well,
why
that
they
comes
describe
in-
it like this. They
That's a
take
reveal.
it up with the B.
That's a reveal.
This
Okay, there you
is
go.
like a trivia moment right here.
Oh, I got yes. Speaking of which, I'm sorry. Side note, I don't care because this is going to come up before the trivia. So, Brendan, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this or not.
You could say
There's
it.
one question about Friday the 13th. It was I know where they were going with it. It was
give me-
besides Pamela Anderson.
Pamela Anderson?
Pamela.
Wait a minute. She was considered for Friday? I'm pissed off.
Besides
boy.
Pamela Voorhees, what other death was by machete in Friday the 13th?
Okay, let me ask you. Hold on. Let me answer the question. Besides Pamela Voorhees, what other death by machete was a snake, I guess?
Okay, so that was the official answer. But I said Claudette.
Oh, you're right. There was a machete with Claudette, wasn't it?
Well, we don't know on screen.
Opening
She
scene.
screams. She just goes like that. But there is that publicity still that shows a
about the
machete
kid?
against her head.
Yeah, but what about the guy?
He
Wasn't there a
was
machete
stabbed.
between that?
Yeah. It was stabbed with a hunting knife, I guess. But I swear that it was a machete that they show in the publicity scene. It never made it into the movie, though. So
Oh.
the snake was the right answer, which I didn't get correct because I said Claudette.
That's true. You got it wrong.
I could see it from both ends because I thought machete, but then I forgot about Claudette because of, you know what though? It's
It's
something
off
to be.
screen. I know.
Yeah, but still, that's
That's
the
it.
problem with these trivias.
Cliffhanger for the show and who won and why this is such a fucking controversy. But that's fine. We'll leave it till later.
That's okay.
Your,
Gotta watch
This is
some
a
trivia.
match.
your match wasn't even controversial.
I know.
This is the
I
one,
just know
one out of 20.
Dave, with it being Friday the 13th, would see it my way if I explained it.
Yeah, of course I do. If I was one of the judges, I would have said, hold up, let me stop and watch the shot of the film for a second and give a second opinion because we may have a discrepancy here because that's a legit, you know what I mean? Judges, you got to have judges. I'm sorry. If
What
you're
are we
doing any
fucking
type-
Jeopardy? Judges discrepancies? Hold on a minute. Nah.
Well, if you have a comp, well, that's why you don't do it because then you got to deal with fucking shit like this. And that's why I didn't take part. That's right. Now this show ain't coming out till May. This is the first show. This is the first show of May. We've filled our April quota. This is the May show. So by the time this show comes out, forget about it. Who knows what's going on with
you
trivia?
realize May is only 5 days away.
Oh yeah. Well, that's true, but still.
We're acting like it's the beginning of April.
Well, because we're gonna record another show before May. That's why I'm saying it. By the time May comes, because today is the Saturday the 25th, right?
Yeah, next
So-
week will be May already.
Oh yeah, May the 2nd. Sorry, my mistake. Either way, I'm thinking
May the
about.
2nd be with you.
Indeed. Anyway, Killer Workout
Sorry,
was my
side
first-
note.
Oh, it's good. It's a damn good side note. That fucking. I'm not listening to a single snippet of that fucking trivia because I know it's going to be loaded with absolute fucking nonsense and bullshit. And from what I've been hearing underground, it has.
Look, all right, you know what?
racial
Since,
against it. I
since
love it.
I
Dave
predicted
was,
it would be a fucking shit show, didn't I? Go ahead. Sorry.
you've been rooting for it, yeah. Since Killer Workouts IMDb description wasn't good enough. Let's read the Wikipedia. The story revolves around a Los Angeles fitness club owned by Rhonda Johnson, whose twin sister Valerie was burned in a tanning salon 2 years ago. Detective Morgan begins to investigate the gym, and after several of its members are brutally murdered by an unknown attacker.
What in the fuck? What's a terrible?
They've always used that, even though you don't see. Even though you don't see Valerie's face. If they showed Valerie's face, then you can use it. But they never show.
Dude, you don't know if Valerie exists for the last fucking 30 minutes of the movie. Or ever existed.
No, you know she exists. She went home.
You never hear the name.
Valerie, you got the modeling job in France. She got the big modeling job in France.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Okay.
Dude, it's the whole reason why she goes to the tanning salon. The guy, her agent calls her and be like, you got the big modeling job. She's going to be the next superstar model in France. We need you there, on a plane tomorrow. I told them you have a good tan. I
had no idea.
Yeah, that's why she went to, exactly, right in the
I have no recollection of that. Okay.
Yeah, she listens to the answering machine. Yeah.
That's hilarious. So, yeah, I didn't put much stock in that either, but yeah, okay. Because they don't really film that in a way that really makes it seem like I would have, like you said, I guess I'll reword this. This is ripe for a remake because that really needs to be reestablished.
I said that too. This is the perfect film for a remake.
Let's remake it because here's how we could do it. And we should call it, no, we can't. I say Aerobicide is a better name. I don't know why they didn't end up going with it. Aerobicide is much fucking better. And they say it 2 or 3 times in this movie, right? So here's how we can remake it. This could be part of Checkout. Because what we can do is we could have a business, right, that you can shop at. It's like a shopping center. There's a store here, and next to the store, no, hold on. Checkout, there could be a kitchen.
Combines everything.
Yes, there could be a kitchen inside of this aerobics place. You know what I mean? They also have dinner. It's a brand new thing. It's state of the art. It's a one-stop shop. You can come here, you can work out, have a shower. When you're done, you can have a meal over here. You know what I mean? And then we can get all the kitchen kills that we want, and we can get the aerobic kills that we want. And then
it works. It's like a big club. It's like a big club. They have a fitness center.
You're missing the point of a remake and a slasher remake at that. It's 2 movies, though. I want to get 2 movies out of this. Combine them.
I don't think there's enough.
Back in the 80s.
And there's an elf on the shelf doing all the killing.
Yeah, but there's not enough meat on the bone to make a really. But listen, there's not enough meat on the bone to make a really good movie with. If you just remade Checkout and then remade Aerobicide, there's too much downtime. Now, if we combine Checkout and Aerobicide to one movie and just have so many characters, now you got a movie because we complained about the shit.
Combining it, I can see combining it, but I don't agree that this would be that there's too much downtime. I think there's too much downtime in this because there's no budget there. I think the positives I have about Killer Workout and where I give it credit. It's that a slasher film that actually tries to tell a good whodunit mystery story with a lot of background, and they actually develop the characters. And I appreciate the acting in this, even though it's bad. I feel like they were trying to make a good movie, even though it's cheesy and laughable at times. But I feel like they were genuinely trying to make a really good slasher film here.
I agree with you. I think they actually were trying to make one with a decent enough detective story with enough good red herrings. Like, they actually get this part right, where you're almost like, why did they reveal the killer at the 1 hour mark? Why did they do that? We still have like 20 minutes of the movie left to only find out really they haven't.
And they had 14 kills in this movie, yet nothing stands out. The time they do use blood, it's very dark, it's choppy, and
that's the fault of the film. That's this movie. If it was remastered and cleaned up and everything and given, like a Shout Factory, a Scream Factory, release, it's a fucking, I'll tell you what, the Blu-ray is really bad. Okay. The copy that's on Prime is really bad. The best way to watch this movie, sadly, is on YouTube.
I watched it on YouTube.
Yeah. And that's only a notch better. But
yeah, I watched it on Prime because I needed the subtitles, even though I own the Blu-ray.
But the Blu-ray is really shitty. It's fucking.
I thought the Blu-ray looked
it's a knockoff.
slightly better than Prime, but it doesn't look great.
It's basically a knockoff, and the guy condemns it. The makers of the film. It's I don't know how it was done, but it's the only time I saw a movie. I use Blu-ray.com, right? The only time I saw a movie on Blu-ray.com that had a 1 or a 1.5 out of 5 for fucking audio, for video quality. I was like, what the hell is this all about? I mean, they tore it apart. I read up on it, so I think maybe this movie was cleaned up. You know.
Yeah, but you know what it is? The method of kill, that the instrument of death, as I used when we were talking about the initiation, is so stupid in this. The main one, the big
big pin.
Yeah,
it would have been better if they used pin, a plastic nightmare. Just beat people to death with a dummy.
That's the problem. You get like 5 pin deaths, and they're all dumb.
But that pin is almost as bad as the giant Band-Aid in Dr. Giggles.
You made that joke about the giant Band-Aid from Dr. Giggles when we did this on the Slasher Show. I almost guarantee you did, because I remember you saying,
I think so too.
But that Band-Aid would have been great.
I think so.
Well, that's what they should have used to cover up the wounds.
You probably made that joke too. I gotta go back and listen.
But I'm telling you,
the guy who got the pin right in the middle of the head, they should have put a big Band-Aid around his head.
The problem with it is it's padded with the 20-minute work scenes. Like, there's literally 5 or 6 scenes that are 30 seconds or more of, and I know, again, they're trying to cater to, instead of nudity, which we do get, you constantly get girls bending over and dancing and showing cleavage and butts.
That was filler.
And everything else.
Was filler. Because you had 3 5-minute versions, like 3 music videos cut in there.
Yeah,
but they're fun. They're fun. And the lyrics of the song.
One would have been fun.
Only you tonight.
Only you tonight. Yeah, I wrote that down. Only you tonight music video.
Oh, dude, it's great.
I swear to God, if we remade this, I would put Body Talk as a song and have it at the beginning, and that would be the one.
You fucking read my mind, because I forgot to say it. When I was gonna propose the idea of remaking both of these movies, I was gonna start singing Body Talk for the song that could be played in the thing. Son of a bitch! Wow, I'm glad you said it, because I dropped it. I dropped the ball on that, and you were there. Oh man, yeah,
but it
definitely.
Would only be the beginning, because you couldn't do so many of them now. People would be like on you, like, but I think there is enough meat and potatoes here. I think they just need to up the kills and flesh out the backstory a bit more. Like you said, when you tell me that, I'm like, oh, that's what that happened at the beginning. But I just thought someone burned and she was keeping it a secret, and now everything makes sense from the revelation.
Yeah, but it's the first thing she does. She walks into the apartment and plays the answer machine. That answer message kind of sets up the whole movie. But when she goes into that tanning bed, there's no way she survived it. That thing exploded at the end.
Yeah, but that didn't make that. That's the one thing that I've never understood that kill in the beginning of the movie. Why somebody goes into the tanning bed, lays down, and then for no reason things start happening and they can't get out. None of that made any sense to me about
like
that.
Final Destination. It was Final
Destination. It almost looks like she's face down in it too.
Face down, ass up.
That's the way we like that. But it seems like she's face down in it, even though she's not.
No, she flips over. She flips over.
Why can't she get out?
The back of her head.
I know, but she flips over in the tanning bed. That's what I'm saying. I even made the joke. I'm like, I made the joke in the chat to Dave. I said the tanning bed explodes and she has a perfectly preserved face. 70% of her body was burned, but she has a perfectly preserved face. I mean, it's kind of silly. It's her attitude, Rhonda's attitude, the whole movie. She's just angry for no reason. They really kind of just jumped right into her being angry and hateful. There's no inciting incident that sets her off. It's 5 years later. So the idea that this is 5 years later and all of a sudden she starts killing is crazy. You got the one girl who shows up to work late. She yells at her. And then she's like, all right, let's close down. Why would you come to work if they're closing down? If they're closing? Did you notice that? She's like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, you come in 5 minutes after class ends?
That's my note, too. Right, the girl shows up. What's her name? Boy, she was pretty.
Oh, Jamie. Oh, my
Jamie.
God.
Oh, man. Yeah, so Jamie shows up, right? Oh, yeah, why you like this and this? And then 5 minutes later, they're closing. I was why would you? You're right. 100%.
Yeah,
that's what I.
She's like, didn't show up on time. I had to teach your class. All right, let's close down. Let's close up for the night.
Yeah. That's my note. Arrive late and then they close right away. that was my
Right.
note. I don't get.
Well, why
I don't
would you show up for work? Like
That's what the whole.
that's what your argument too.
That's
Like,
the whole point. It's like call
that-
in. It's like you're coming in for 15 minutes.
like you
I don't
missed
know.
everything you did. It was dumb. That was dumb.
Why was
That
she
was
late?
dumb.
What did that have to do with the plot whatsoever? Why couldn't she have just been there? How did that figure into the plot?
It didn't at all. They just wanted another opportunity for Rhonda to be mean and nasty because all she did was yell at everyone in this movie.
Yeah, but I
think
thought
that's
they were
show-
lovers for a second. I thought they were going to say, oh, I'm going to take you out to dinner tonight.
Oh,
She-
man.
I thought they
In the
were going
remake,
for
there
that.
will be.
In the remake, they're going for more than dinner.
They definitely are. Well, the one scene is straight like a porno. There was 100% that scene. If you would have put that scene in a porno and then that led to sex instead of whatever that happened in this movie, nobody would have questioned it. That scene where they have the fight outside, the detective and the other guy, and they had the fight, and the brunette girl sees him, and then she takes him. Oh, do you know about this guy? And then remember that she takes him to his house. He goes outside.
Yeah.
She wants to sunbathe. She come outside. She has a freaking thing on. She gives him a drink, and then she starts flirting with him and making out with him. I'm like, this is a porno. There's
yeah.
no question that this would lead to sex in a porno.
It is you're exactly right. It's a porno because it's so ridiculous because he's working. That's his first day working. She says, take out the trash, clean the toilets. And in the middle of work, the girl's like, you want to go for a ride? He's like, sure. He just leaves work. And then he's like, I got to go back to work. I got things to do. Like, are you kidding me?
You're right.
And those kung fu fights are just great.
Oh,
That's
they're
the
so
other-
fun.
Everybody knows kung fu in this movie.
There are padded kung fu fights and padded aerobic scenes. It's crazy. There's more fights in this than in Rocky.
All I want to say is if I ever am around Chuck Dawson and I find a dead body, I'm running. That guy just like it's almost like he was going to turn and say get help, but that guy he just runs up to that poor guy, grabs him by the hair, and beats him senseless in the face. That is such a ridiculous scene. And then a dream sequence with this minor character where he dreams about Jamie just to show her naked. I mean, granted, thank you.
Well, that
You
was
got to
great.
say
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
but
That
it's a
was
dream
right, I did.
sequence. But it's a dream sequence.
True, it is.
From
But
a-
he's
from
just
a character-
knocked out, right? Leaning
Yeah,
against the lockers. That guy.
yeah.
I would
that guy.
have pissed off if it was
They-
real. I would have.
Dude, that guy had a dream sequence. You can't.
I know he
don't
did.
even know that guy's name. That guy.
Isn't that Jimmy or the other guy?
No, Jimmy was the one who they pinned the killings on. This
Okay,
was like.
so-
This is
Martin
what
stuff.
separates this one. This one is so ridiculous that if you're looking for some sort of highbrow you're going to be sorely disappointed. If you're looking for a party movie to sit back, drink a few, and have fun with, this is your flick.
Thank
The
you.
only thing that keeps it from being better, though, is the fact that the kills leave something to be desired. They needed to up the ante of the kills, and there's just too much padding for it to be more enjoyable other than just like a party flick.
There's also a lot of conveniences, a lot of plot issues, story issues
Again.
with some of these killings taking place, like the guy in the locker room. He's killed in the locker room with the detective and a cop right outside. Where was Rhonda hiding?
Yeah.
How did she kill him and then get back to her office? Like, there's just a lot of convenience.
We need to set up like secret passageways in the
Oh,
remake.
boy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How much-
and you know what they do? They go into lockers, so she
Yeah.
can come out of a locker and go into a locker somewhere else, and she
Like
goes
in The
fine.
Simpsons.
Incorporate it.
In The Simpsons, where they have the secret society in the locker,
right.
they're walking there with candlelight. It's great.
The letter opener scene. That was hilarious.
Oh.
She's opening mail. She's opening mail with the letter. The detective walks in. She gets mad. She sticks the letter opener in the apple, and he says to her, "You're pretty handy with that thing."
Yes,
All she did was stick it in the apple. What are you talking about?
but I like the.
Everybody's a Substack. A Substack.
I like yes. Everybody's a what? What'd you call it? A subset.
I can't even talk again.
I
Yeah,
like that fact.
Pamela Anderson did it.
Pamela Anderson with the letter opener in the office. Yes. So this girl ends up being the killer, and for once in a movie, he is accusing her. She is a suspect. You never see that. Usually, they're not suspected. This guy is actually he does what a detective would do, and everybody that's around, he's up on top of him, and if he sees a sign, he's going to get on it. So I like the fact that the one who was revealed to be the killer is actually suspected at one time in the movie. I like when they do that in movies. It doesn't usually happen, especially in these 80s slashers. It doesn't always happen that way. It's just like a surprise at the end. They have red herrings, yes, but it's like, oh, you're the killer. Well, why? What happened to you? I don't know. It's just I like
that. He's a smart
He was
detective for
Yes.
99% of the movie, except for the fact when he decides when he's going to give his speech, he's going to stick the shovel in the ground and walk away from it. Let me stick this deadly weapon in the ground, walk away, give you my epilogue, and then you could bash me in the head, kill me, and end the movie.
I don't know. Like, there's a part of me that said, while that scene was playing out, this is a great twist that he's going to take vigilante justice and say, my dad was a clean cop, and I've always almost been a clean cop, and now, fuck it. I'm gonna actually serve justice. And I thought the fact that he said it was great. I really wanted him to carry through with it. But then I actually thought it was kind of a cool, like, double twist almost, that you're like, oh, this is awesome. He's gonna do this, only for her to then kill him.
Yes. Oh, it was great. She picks up
it
the
actually
shovel.
does, yeah.
Oh, and the ending reveal.
Convenience. You're right, Brandon.
Yeah,
But hey,
there's makings of a good movie here.
I got to be honest. What's the ending reveal again?
well, not the reveal, because honestly, you could have it played off that you don't know she really is the killer until they show that.
Oh,
who's to say?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you want to side on the fact that she is because it makes sense, but the way she's behaving, even in that final scene with him, she's like, I didn't kill anyone. I killed so-and-so for self-defense. She does a good job, I think, of convincing me that he may be wrong about this, even though there's signs pointing, yes, I did pretend to be my sister or whatever else, and I got burned, and now I'm doing this, and yes, I do have, bitter feelings about some beautiful people, whatever the fuck. You're right about all that, but I am not the one going around killing all these people. You're wrong on that. That's why I'm not there. Just when they have that confrontation, the way she delivers it, to me, it would still sell it to me that, you know what? Maybe she is not the killer. I mean, so it's not
another twist. Another twist then. He tries to kill her. She kills him. She gets in the car. Someone kills her. And then cut to credits. You're like,
yeah.
Who was that? Who was
That'll
that?
be our movie.
But
We do a sequel.
The thing was 5 years of owning this thing, and you're not doing one class to showcase the fact that you're Freddy-esque.
Dude, it's ridiculous.
5
At the beginning of
the owner.
At the beginning of that, she has her hair up, and you could see the back of her head isn't burned. You could tell it's not a wig she's wearing. And then later, the wig is so obvious.
That nappy ass wig that they put on looks like it's right out of like a bad costume store. It's like really bad hair. Just comes up.
Yeah. They do that scene like the Emperor, or like Vader in freaking Empire Strikes Back when it comes down. They just tease you.
Seeing the back of Darth Vader's head was the scariest thing as ever as a kid in Empire Strikes Back.
Absolutely. Sea's frozen.
You guys are frozen on me. I can't hear a word you're saying.
Oh, you were frozen on us. Not
so
anymore.
weird. Now you're back.
My phone is up because I was about to take a picture of the face you look. It was a big shit-eating grin. It was great. Was he frozen on your end, B?
He froze up for a sec, yeah.
Okay. Well, we're okay. You were talking during it, so no harm.
Anyway,
Dude,
that's fine.
who hired this private eye, this Chuck guy? Was it the other boss?
Yes, the other boss.
Why?
Right away, because there's a murder at his fucking place. And maybe he suspects Rhonda. Maybe he knows something about Rhonda. Maybe you know what I mean? He's suspecting her. He can't be there for whatever reason, so he hires this guy. That's why. That's what I get out of it.
Can I ask a question? What happened to the twin sister?
There was no twin sister.
There was no twin sister.
Valerie and Rhonda are the same person.
Right.
Well,
She took her identity.
now, but you just, and that's where this thing kind of falls apart based on the fact that like she just decides to change her name and say she had a twin sister and no one knows the rest of her life. Like, I mean, I understand like from a reveal standpoint was really cool, but there should have been at least a sister.
There should have been a lot of things. I still don't. I mean, I get that the boss hired Chuck, but it doesn't make sense. Like, there's been a murder. You would let the police handle it. Like, there's no reason why 5 years after running your business with this woman, you would suspect she's like, all of a sudden started killing. It's very weird.
Yeah, but the guy isn't there. Hold on a minute. Maybe
It's
the
still
guy
weird.
lives out of state. Maybe the guy lives out of state and runs another company. Okay, he doesn't want to come here and do this, and he doesn't want the bad publicity of murders happening in his place of business. So to try to get
He's
it
the
done.
final killer.
There you go. He's the killer. That could be the reveal at the very
Final
end.
killer. I
You're
can't
grasping,
have
you're
this
grasping
bad
at straws here. Him being the killer would be better, but no, him not wanting bad publicity is crazy because
Why?
there's 14 kills all at this place.
Yeah, but he
And
doesn't
yet-
know
and
that.
yet-
This is after
and yet
kill
the
number
people-
1.
I know, but
You're
still,
missing that.
it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make
Why?
sense.
He wants to
It
cover
makes
it up
no
with this shit
sense.
happening.
He
If you
did
want
cover it up. The
business-
police were there. The police were already there.
I understand. It didn't work out the way he wanted it. But from his point of view, when he hears that something went down at this club, instead of getting the cops involved and have a fucking media circus where everybody's calling this place a robicide
are already
and everything
involved.
else. Huh?
They're already involved.
Yeah, but a private investigator can do things differently. And he can maybe be... Remember, he's a fucking guy on the inside now. So he's going to masquerade himself as an employee so we
He
can
was
find
caught
out what's going
instantly.
on.
He was caught instantly going
That's
through the
irrelevant.
files.
When the other owner hires that guy, he doesn't know he's gonna do that. He's just saying, let's not make this thing explode into a fucking media circus. Let me send one guy there undercover as a private investigator to get to the bottom of this before it spirals out of control. You can't understand that mentality.
I think it's absolutely ridiculous.
Well, you and I better not never be business partners then, because
Yeah.
that's what I would do too.
No. Nah, it's shady. It's shady and weird. It
In fact,
doesn't
you're off
make
the
any sense.
podcast.
The fact that what's that?
In fact, you're off the podcast.
All right.
Well, see,
Oh,
you were
What are you talking about?
He says that we should never be business partners. Like, so in fact, you're off the podcast. It's like, what are you talking?
He thought you were serious. Wait a minute, Christian. Do you agree with me? Would you do the same thing? Would you get an investigator to avoid a circus?
I would, but I see what Brandon's saying. I would actually have liked them to explain it too. That
I'm
would
not
have been
talking
nice.
about real life. I'm talking about within this movie. It makes no sense.
Well,
It
no,
makes
no,
zero
hey,
sense.
It would have made sense if they said, "Look, I was hired by so and so. He wanted me to look into it," and it does make sense at the point where David's saying after the first killing. But then,
Yeah.
of course, now we've got like 14. There's
Right.
going to be some
Yes,
bad
but
publicity.
even after he comes in, the police have already been there investigating.
Well, of course they're cops. Of course they're going to come and investigate. But
Yeah.
he's just
So if you want to cover it up, you didn't cover it up. There's no covering it up. So you're bringing in a private investigator as a secondary thing after the fact, which is
cover
fine.
up, no. Diffuse the situation, yes. But
Hey,
cover
thank
up,
you.
you're
Better-
right. At this point, you can't.
He does
You
a great
can't-
job
you
of
can't cover
diffusing
it
the
up.
situation
Right.
by beating the shit out of every single club member there.
I'm not saying he was the right choice. I'm not saying it worked out the way he wanted it to. Just
Brandon's
theoretically.
argued the point pretty well, though.
I know. I get what he's saying, but I don't know. In real life, I would do the same thing. That's all I was saying. It didn't work out. It's another ridiculous thing in this ridiculous movie that highlights the 80s cheese. It's like that movie Killer Party. You ever see that movie Killer Party?
Yeah.
Killer Party's a good movie. This is
That-
not.
The charm of that movie is the 80s cheese. Just like this, especially with the aerobics and the music and everything else. It's like C said, it's a fun party movie. It's something
Yeah.
what I recommend. Again, remember what we said last time? I don't think it was Initiation. I think it was, what was the other one you shit on? The slasher, C or B. What was that
It
first
was-
slasher you shit on a couple of shows ago?
Intruder.
Okay, Intruder, where I said these movies, I'm not saying it's my number 46 or something on my list at the time. I'm not saying you're going to sit and watch it by yourself like a Halloween or a Friday or My Bloody Valentine. These are movies that they're for fun. You sit down. Would you rather watch this or fucking Troll 2 when you have your friends over and you're having a few beers?
I don't
if
want to
you're-
watch either, but I'm tired of the alcohol, needs to be to make it, to enjoy
It
the
doesn't.
film argument.
It doesn't
It does,
necessarily
It's a
mean
party movie.
my friends
Yeah.
and I. It doesn't have to be alcohol. Like my buddy Scott comes at my house. He
It
never
could be
fucking
weed or
has a-
cocaine.
It could be nothing. It could be sober. When I'm hanging out with my friends, we're just ready to fucking have a good time. Alcohol or not, it doesn't matter. Like my buddy Scott comes over, never takes a fucking drink and drives home. Never. So we come in. if he was here, we'd be fucking laughing at some of the stuff. And my brother Mike, we would be appreciating the 80s stuff and the bad lyrics of the songs. I mean, did you listen to the lyrics of the songs? The things you watch the subtitles. It was ridiculous. But it's funny. Hey, baby, you look sexy. Standing there watching me. I can see you, the hunger in you, reaching for your fantasy. All that shit. I mean, this is 80s at its best. It's a time capsule. It's fun. It's just fun. And the kills, not all of them are great. The first one is really good. The blood flow is fucking pretty. Wow. It's good bleeding going on with that first girl in the shower and everything else. But I mean, listen, the year of the slasher. The year of the slasher, when I watched this movies and I compared it to other slashers, I personally enjoyed watching this more than 70 other slashers I saw that year. That's what it comes down to. I had a better time watching it. That's why I made my list. Now, would it? That remains to be seen. Let's give our ratings. I mean, they're not meant to be watched over and over.
I say this is fun, but I'm also still kind of more realistic in the ratings. Had the kills been souped up a bit more, my rating probably would have gone up. But as it stands, I give this like a 6 out of 10.
All right,
but it's fun. Yeah.
Yeah. And like the only thing I'll second what I said earlier is that there's makings of a good movie here. I appreciate the high body count, 14 kills. I appreciate the attention to story, even though it's really, really sloppy with the PI, with the detective, with her motive for starting killing now. Stuff needs to be more thought out and better written. But there's makings of a good film, and I appreciate that they were trying to make a good film. But it's extremely average to me, 5 out of 10.
Oh, shit. What did you give it the year of the slasher?
Probably like 5.5.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll tell you this. I still have fun with it. I'm basically a sucker for the 80s cheese and the 80s charm. Something about the film I enjoy. I'm not coming in too high. Matter of fact, if I was doing the show now, it would not make my top 50 based solely on the rating I'm giving it. I'm going down a little bit. I'm going down to the 6.5. It is not part of the illustrious 6.75 and over, which made my list of slashers.
What?
So it would be competing with like 20 other movies that I just enjoy and that are just hanging around there. But I have fun. How about that song? You look just like Mr. Hippo and Mrs. Pig. They say.
I don't remember that. Mrs. Hippo and Mr. Pig.
Yeah,
I must
Mrs.
have been looking
Hippo.
down.
It's a lyric in one of the songs towards the end of the movie. Yeah. Yeah. And just if you pay attention, there are some funny lyrics to these songs that were at the time were taken seriously because of the time period it was in. And it's just, I don't know, maybe it's nostalgia for me when I see movies from this time period that are done in the cheesiest of 80s stuff. It's nice to see.
Extreme cheddar in this one. There was that scene too. I forgot. It seemed like she was always killing as the detectives were getting to the house or someone was getting to the house. Because there was one scene where she had to escape. She threw herself out the window. And the way like the stunt person threw themselves out the window, it was so funny. It looked like she was a missile projectile. Right.
When the killer ran away?
Hilarious.
Yeah, when the killer ran away and projectile missiles out the window.
Yeah,
Ron didn't even have a cut on her face the next day.
Yeah, that was good.
She had a little scratch, just a little clue.
Right. It was like a ninja. She came out, she was dressed all in black, and then she ran away.
Dude, she was like a ninja. That explains it. My rating would go up if it turns out she was a ninja, because that's the only way she could have done half these killings. She was like the graffiti people. She's lurking in the shadows, slitting throats. I actually like that set of kills. The three graffiti people.
Yes.
The little group. I really liked that. That was probably my favorite group of kills.
And they were shitting on the business. They wrote a Robicide on. You know what else they wrote? Death Spa, which I found funny.
That is funny.
Either one of those would have been a better title than Killer Workout, in my opinion.
I do like Killer Workout. I know.
Did Death Spa come out before or after Killer Workout?
Same year, I think.
I think
it's the exact same year.
I think 87 or 89, but yeah, I think it is the same year. I think it is 87. If you put a gun to my head, I say 87. But still,
get that gun to his head. I'm checking right
Christian, you said it like right at the beginning. I swear. I mean, I was really gonna it was gonna be my highlight of this at the beginning. This is prime for a remake because this had the makings. Like I'm telling you, I see it. Like even the story, just clean up a few things, and it's probably a budget issue. I mean, the guy who played Chuck, his brother's the director. Ted Pryor's the director, or David Pryor? David Pryor's the director. Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor's the killer. Richard Pryor's the killer at the end.
Oh, you honkers!
Ooh, Wonder Wheel!
Awesome.
Despo was 89.
89. See, there you go. Okay.
But
So
that was his
killed.
brother who played
Done.
Chuck. The director's brother played Chuck. So I appreciate, I like that. Like, you could see, like, they had a good time making this film and stuff, but, like, it just needs more money. Just needs more money and just be fleshed out a little bit more. But it's right there.
How about the Annie kill? How about they did an Annie kill, like in Halloween? Yeah. Yeah, I like that. With that steering wheel. They're still doing that 9 years later and shit. I dig that. And friggin' that song was called...
That's right after the slit throat, which is almost very Annie
go.
from Friday.
See?
So almost like a double Annie kill.
A couple of Annies. Nice.
And they should have played Annie, Are You Okay? Annie, Are You Okay? Are you okay, Annie?
Oh, shit. Oh, that's good. How about that song? It was called Animal Workout. Workout. Animal Workout. And that's why they said Mrs. Hippo and Mr. Pig or whatever the hell they
I
said.
can't believe I missed Mrs. Hippo and Mr. Pig, because I was watching the lyrics of the songs and I thought they were great. I would have definitely written down Mrs. Hippo and Mr. Pig.
Yeah, I definitely did. Here, how about this one? Oh,
This
it's
is a good
just
song.
great.
That's a good song. I gotta be honest. I would listen. That sounds like a Pat Benatar song.
Yeah, it does.
Right?
Only you tonight. Yeah, I dig it, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, that sounds like it's something from Fright Night or that Pat Benatar did. I would actually download that song and listen to it
Well,
while
you can
working
get it on
out.
YouTube.
While
You can
working
buy
out.
the soundtrack while work. Oh, I love to see that. That'd be a Patreon bonus right there.
Dude, I gotta be honest. When I work out, a lot of the songs I listen to when I work out are songs from movies. That's usually most of the music I listen to are songs that I associate with movies.
I can dig it.
I don't like have like favorite bands and stuff. It's all stuff that I pick up from shows and movies, and I'm like, all right, I'll listen to that. I like that.
And what about the girl? What's her name? Rhonda. I was looking up because I thought she's quite pretty. She kind of reminds me a little bit of Jo from The Facts of Life, a little bit with some of her look. I don't know, but very exotic looking. But I looked her up to see what she was doing. You know, she made her very first appearance. I don't know if it happened, but she made her very first appearance March of this year at a convention. So she's in the convention circuit now. I'd love to meet her.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yep. March 2020. It said her very first appearance. I would have met her for sure, man.
Dude, this is the exact type of people you want to see at
Probably
conventions.
Not. That is what I want to go to for conventions for the obscure movies, for the shit like this that I like, that I know aren't going to be. Don't get me wrong, but everyone's going to see Friday the 13th people, and yes, I'm as a big a Friday guy as anybody, but I want to see people like this and people, some of these minor characters in like minor movies, I should say, maybe lead character her, but that would make it special to me.
Dude,
you're not gonna see that.
It's the same people doing the conventions, and once you meet them and get their autographs, how many Kane Hodder autographs do you need? What are you gonna get Kane Hodder autograph every time? I mean, he's awesome, but like, it's always the same people. It's always Kane Hodder. It's always C.J. Graham. It's always Robert Englund. It's like,
I know.
It's like, okay, I got your autographs. I met you. You're
Alfred
awesome.
Hitchcock. I've been trying to see Alfred Hitchcock for the last 15 conventions.
You've been trying to see any cock. Cock of the walk. I almost said cock of the mob.
Cock of the mob. Well, that was your other job.
Yeah, mopping freaking spooge.
Jizz mopper.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of jizz, I was at work yesterday, and I talked about our show. I was telling them, I go, I don't know how it came up, but I said something in a meeting in the morning about
your dick, right?
No, not about my dick. Actually, no, I try not to.
It came up.
Junior stays covered. No, but I was talking about, what do you call it? I go, if you were given the choice to have your ear cut off or to drink some nasty freaking thing, what would it be? So we're talking about it, and they figured out that I was talking about jizz. I didn't come out and say it. So anyway, I told them exactly the reason why I picked the jizz, because I go, well, how? I go, what if my wife dumps me? How am I gonna get laid if freaking my ears cut off? It's gonna it's gonna be a deal breaker. I go, that's the problem with me. Sex trumps everything. So we got into this conversation at work. So then after because of course they don't know what movie I'm talking about. So after talking about this for 2-3 minutes, everybody's laughing. They said, what's the name of the movie? And I say, Come to Daddy. And everybody fucking burst out laughing. I think they were thinking like CUM, come, because I was talking about Come to Daddy and all that shit. But then I'm talking about it, and they go, so what decision was made in the movie? And I said, you know what? I don't remember. So do you guys remember? or was it interrupted? I don't even remember what the answer is to that question. Did the guy drink jizz or get his ear cut off, or did nothing happen?
Wasn't his ear cut off? Wasn't his ear already cut off?
I don't know. See, we don't know. Okay, it's okay. Nobody remembers. No big deal. Anyway, let's move on. Oh, shit, Come to Daddy. But we're gonna forget about that now because we get to talk about The Shining. So I'm excited.
There's no crazy people around here.
We got me in this motherfucker. I can't tell you how many times during this movie, my daughter, more often, my wife would say it too, but my daughter was saying it a lot. That's you. Talking about Jack Nicholson, the way he fucking is. I know it's making me sound like a lunatic, but
I want to put Ned. I wanted to do a meme of Ned going, "There's no crazy people around here," and then a shot of Jack Nicholson from frame fucking 1 of this movie, smiling. Because I agree with Stephen King on one thing about this movie: Jack Nicholson is crazy from the get-go.
And yes, we'll talk about why. And I have an answer for everything you're going to throw at me in this thing.
But I'm not fighting you. There's no fight.
I know you're not.
I'm just saying that's my. I only want to say quibble because I'm not doing a film book comparison. I'm talking about the movie. And I'm talking about what I see in the movie.
No book comparison. We're not reviewing the book. We're reviewing the movie. It's not but you're right. That is a quibble. I have one other quibble that we'll get to, but other than that, I think it's going to be a lot of ball gargling. All right, so let's do this.
Kubrick's.
I got Kubrick's.
I got Nicholson's. He's alive.
Eyes wide shut.
And I guess I get Danny's little nuts in my.
Well, they're big now.
Yeah, they're big nuts now.
Danny's little nuts. Couple of macadamias.
Oh man, we just lost the patron.
Yeah,
okay, The Shining from 1980, directed by Stanley Kubrick, based on Stephen King's novel and screenplay written by Kubrick and Diane Johnson. A family heads to an isolated hotel for the winter where a sinister presence influences the father into violence while his psychic son sees horrifying forebodings from both past and future.
All right. The Shining. Boy, oh boy, this movie.
No mention of twin sisters in this.
Don't mention them.
I said no mention of twin sisters in this, even though they're not twins.
Oh, you're right.
It was a reference. It was a reference to Killer Workout.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah. They've come back again, twin sisters.
Everybody calls them twins, though. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people refer to them as the two twins in the movie.
You know what? There's nothing. You know what? I don't get mad at that. Like, I mean, yeah, you could correct and be like, no, technically they're not twins. But to be honest, I thought for the longest time, you never. Did they ever?
Let me explain. This is, believe me, you know me in this movie. You know how much I've loved this movie for fucking 30 years now. And the more I watch it and the more I study it and the more information I get from it with research and everything else, the more I can weigh in on these things. Let me tell you this. First of all, in real life, obviously they're twins. So for anyone to look at those two dressed identically, looking almost the same, one is a little chubbier than the other, but they're dressed the same, they look the same. For anyone to look at that and not think twins, it's stupid. So that's basically a gatekeeper asshole person that would come up and say, actually, they're not twins. Because general consensus, you could show that picture.
Enter the horror community.
Okay, well, then fuck them. Because I'm as big a fan of anybody as this movie, and I will not correct them. Because you can show these pictures to people that have no knowledge of this film. Say, here, look at this picture. What do you see? You can take it around the world. Around the fucking world. People
twins are universal.
And say twin girls. That's what they are going to say because that's what you're presented with. Okay? Just because you want to be a gatekeeper and because the one guy says, and because Ullman says that the daughters were 8 and 10 years old and they got hacked up, that is fine. I understand what you're saying. But in the context of this film, when you see those two, if they're not twins, then what the fuck are they? A 10 and an 8-year-old that just happen to look identical for the most part? They have the same voices? Get the fuck out of here. They're twins.
It's such a quick thing that he says that, honestly, for a 2.5-hour movie, if you miss that, you might never know.
And
my wife was calling them twins when we were watching Dr. Sleep together.
Well, there you go.
I slapped her across the face, divorced her, and I sat on the other side of the theater to watch the movie.
And now I have her head on. Now I have her head on the shelf.
It's gonna be a fourth one right here.
You're replacing my head.
I'm kidding. I don't believe in spousal abuse anymore.
And and that's going to lead to a topic later in this movie. It's about spousal abuse and modern film and this film. But that's another thing. But okay, if you can refer, it flows better. The Shining twins. And let me go a step further. These two girls that we see here may not be the same 8 and 10-year-old girls that Ullman is referring to in this movie. And I'll tell you why. Because there's a Delbert Grady and there's a Charles Grady. And the whole thing about this movie, the way you want to interpret it, it's said in the actual film. He says the gentleman's name was Charles Grady. When Nicholson meets the other guy later on in the bathroom, he refers to himself as Delbert Grady, not the same person. Therefore, how do you want to interpret this film? I interpret it as reincarnation of the same soul into this hotel, which is hell for ghosts. And that's why Jack, at the end of the movie, is in the picture, because that is not Jack Torrance. That is a different person in his lineage, in his bloodline, that has been there before. He's in some type of hell trap there, and Jack and Delbert Grady are drawn to it.
Okay, which is what I turned to my wife. I go, I love this movie, and I really love I really like this movie as well. So I love the ending. But I said, but please explain it to me. Well, how would you determine this ending? She says the hotel's kind of hell, and that's like him reliving it or something like that. I said, see, I never interpret it like that, but there's no other reason for him to be in that picture at the end.
He's a spirit now of the hotel, so there he is. He's a part of the grand ballroom now, so he's there. I take it very simply. In fact, I appreciate this movie more now, without overanalyzing it. I think Room 237 is a great documentary, but some of the deep dives in that movie are absolute horseshit.
It's absurd.
It's beyond absurd. The Indian cans, the
Indian thing makes sense. Yeah. Here's my deal. There is a whole lot of Native American stuff throughout this entire film. He deliberately states, listen now, the Indian burial ground, and there's no way these are sets that are constructed. There is no way he doesn't have all that Indian stuff and art all over the place, and they mention the fucking two tribes when they're talking about the decoration. There are Native American things all over this film. So Kubrick, when he made the movie, maybe had a stance on Native Americans, and maybe he had a stance on Americans that came in and did what they did. That there are little things throughout. Does that have to be the basis of the film, and do you have to overanalyze it? No, but I do think that was done with intent. Even when Jack's taking the drink and he says white man's burden. That's talking about the 1899 Rudyard Kipling thing. And I'm not going to put on the tinfoil hat like some of the people did in 237 and go over and over and over. But some of this stuff, I believe there's merit to it. There's so much meat on the bone. There's stuff you could deep dive into if you so choose to. That's all I'm saying.
It's there because Kubrick put it there, but it's not germane to the story at hand. At all.
To him it is. To him, he wanted to make a statement.
He might be, he's making his own social commentary. That's fine. But in terms of watching the movie The Shining, it has nothing to do with the Torrance family to me. I don't think it pertains to anything having to do with the characters, the plot, or anything like that. It looks nice. It's cool. You could look up Calumet. It was a tobacco pipe, a peace pipe, a truce pipe. You could take, the piece of, that versus the struggle of this family. But I don't even want to do that. This is just a very simple haunted hotel movie that's brilliantly done, well acted, and just probably the best slow burn horror movie there is.
Well, I think you do from a Kubrick standpoint, because it's Kubrick. Well, actually, just because it's Kubrick, but any good director, they're laying the foundation there. That it's in the frame for a reason, so you can't simply dismiss it. I'm not deep diving like 2-3 like the documentary, but I'm saying it's there for a reason to maybe give a basis for the haunting and maybe give it a little bit more explanation without saying anything. It's the foundation. He's not putting it there for no reason whatsoever. However, you're right. The actual story that we're kind of following is about this descent into madness, about being here and the horrors.
This isolation, this descent into madness. In fact, in this film, it's so weird. The Shining itself, you don't even need The Shining in this movie, really.
Well,
if you just make him a normal little boy, this is still a great psychological film about a man's descent into madness.
It's one of my quibbles, actually. Like when Hal-Ben comes back to help them out, the guy took a goddamn plane there. He took the snowcat there. He's coming through the door. Hey, kid, mind shining me a warning about your dad?
Hey, Christian.
Anybody here? He tries.
You might be shining me somebody a heads up.
First of all, the same thing happens in Dr. Sleep, but that was my second quibble. Besides the fact that they should have had Jack nicer at the beginning, more normal, is that Dick Hallorann shouldn't have died in the movie. I know he doesn't die in the book, but he shouldn't have died in the movie, or he shouldn't have died so quick.
But it's all for a reason. Okay, shouldn't have died so quick. Fine, but he served his purpose. If he doesn't show up exactly when he does, Wendy gets killed. Jack stops when he's about to get through the door. He already acts the door. Here's Johnny, the whole nine. He's about to get in there and fucking kill his wife who can't get out through the window. He stops solely because he hears the snowcat coming up the thing, turns around and goes downstairs. So he does serve a purpose. He saves Wendy's life, and he saves both of their lives. He ultimately gives himself so those two can live. And that's what he was supposed to do. Danny called.
And he could have done that, and Danny could have shined him a warning. I'm not going to let
Danny
that go.
wasn't concerned with
Shined him a warning. Well, you should have been. The guys.
Are you kidding me? Your father's chasing you with an axe, and you're 5 fucking years old. You're going to be worried about Dick? Come on.
Is he 5 when this is happening?
Yes.
Can't be.
Yes, he's 5.
Then when does Dr. Sleep take place? The opening of Dr. Sleep. Because then it flashes forward 11 years later. He's not 16 years old.
No, it doesn't flash forward 11. It flashes forward to 2011. And then it flashes forward to modern day. Believe me, I know it. I have it all written down.
Okay, all right. That was one of my things about Dr. Sleep. I'm like,
I thought it said
2011. So I thought maybe I just saw.
Yeah, and it starts out in 1980 with him like a year later.
I thought it said 11 years later, but you're right. It was 2011. Correct. Yes. And then it went 8 years later from there. Okay.
Ewan McGregor looks good for 16.
He's good for 26. Let's be honest. But
I'll cross off one of my questions to you then, because we'll get to that movie. But that was it. Those are really my quibbles too, Brandon. Was just that, like, just have them maybe a little friendlier at the beginning, Jack. Not so like I'm crazy. Like out of the gate. Like I know he's not. Okay, well, shoot me your argument for the reason as to why. I'd like to know.
Okay, the hotel makes Jack do what he does. Correct? Can we at least agree on that?
Yeah. So you're saying,
okay,
because he got into the hotel, he's like,
because the opening scene is the interview. He's already in that hotel. So we never see Jack outside of the hotel. Never. We see Wendy and Danny.
Car we do. He's in the car.
As they are approaching the hotel, they are already in the mountains, and they're right around the corner from the hotel. And that's when it starts to touch them. And there you see little instances, which my daughter and wife say is me when he's talking. And he goes, mm-hmm. That's what I say when I'm fucking frustrated and shit like that. And they're talking to me about some nonsense. And, he saw it on the television. Yes, you do see the cracks of it already. Okay, which makes sense. He's already been there for the interview. When you see him in the interview, he does seem normal. He's just gotten there. They'll love it. My wife is a confirmed ghost story and horror movie expert. That's not going to happen to me. He seems like a normal cat. He's doing his thing. He's doing a regular interview. Of course, I get all that. So, and he's fine. Even when he calls Wendy and says, hey, we got to do this. Sounds like he got the job. Yeah, you'll love it here. He is still somewhat normal. Okay. So now, whatever. Then he leaves. And then as they are approaching it, hence the foreboding music. and where they are, and they are approaching danger, and they are already in the mountains. Therefore, they're in Colorado, in the dangerous area where they're supposed to be. And this is when you see them in the car, and the hotel is already fucking calling out to him. He's already heading to what's going to ultimately drive him mad. So he's already showing the signs because he's there. He's already been touched. Now he's getting closer to being a resident of there. So he's already being called out to. Then when he gets there, he is actually still somewhat normal a couple times. When he wakes out of bed the first time, when they show the mirror shot, which mirror, that's a whole other thing about this movie and the whole other thing we can get into with the mirrors. But he wakes up from bed and, he is normal at that moment because he just woke up and he comes up and he's normal as can be. He's like, "Do you have any ideas?" He goes, "A lot of ideas, no good ones." And he's dipping his toast in the egg and he's doing, and he's talking. And I never been so happy anywhere.
See, I see it was totally crazy at this point.
Yeah,
already.
that's
like, I honestly think they needed.
When he wakes up in bed, he's crazy.
Exactly, he's nuts.
You guys are fucked.
Nuts.
You guys are fucked.
Honestly,
I can't discuss it with you then.
No, I could understand where you're coming from. I just don't see it in the movie because the problem with the movie is it needs that arc for the premise of, like, I think, the hotel to get into your skin. I mean, I granted your argument holds a little bit of weight as well based on he's been there for the interview, but I'll say this. I'll make a joke about it, but this is the truth. If I was the people interviewing him, I'd be like, there's something not right with this guy. I'm not hiring him for the job then. Because he doesn't come across as friendly enough. Like, I don't know. He's just
friendly's
not...
got to be a fucking caretaker.
You're both right here. I agree that he is sort of partially taken over from the interview onward, and I do agree with the car ride up with what you said, Dave. The only issue I have with him not being really that normal at all in the hotel is because he does have an instance where I think he's the most normal and the most genuine, and that's right after he has the dream about killing them.
Yes,
when he's
that is his last.
But that was genuinely, like, remorseful, nice. That was like the first time you almost saw him to me. Like every other time
it's the last time you see him too.
Yeah.
It's the last time you see him holding on to the real Jack, the human self.
Exactly. To me, that
100%.
was the real Jack, and I feel like we got none of that really loving Jack. But I get it because of the interview. But at the same time, I wish it had built a little bit more. It's a minor quibble. I still like it. He's reading the Playgirl. He's just sort of, I don't know. He just sort of seems like he's lost it. But also, there's the whole underlying story of their marriage. This has clearly been a marriage that isn't meant to be.
Okay, wait a minute now. Before we proceed, if you show someone those two scenes, him being interviewed in that film, and the scene when he wakes up in bed and he goes, "Oh, what time is it? It's 11 o'clock." And he's like, "Oh, geez, 11 already?" And this and that. And he goes, "I got some work to do." If you show someone that has no knowledge of Jack Nicholson or this movie in The Shining, fucking anybody off the street, you show them that scene of him in bed having that conversation with his wife, and you show him the interview, I guarantee that nobody's going to say he looks fucking and is acting crazy. I think that is a thing that is in your head because you know it's Jack and you know about the movie. You're preconditioned to think that.
It's the facial expressions. It's the smiles. It's the mannerisms.
That's just him. He's always that way in every movie. When you go
my
watch
daughter had never saw this before. My daughter never saw this before, and she didn't. It was creepy. I think the first time she said that, and I am pretty sure it was very early in the movie. Like, they don't give you. There's not a long time for a movie that's 2 hours and 20 minutes plus. He's crazy within the first 20 minutes of the movie,
and that's fine. But I mean, I'm just solely speaking of the interview and that scene when he wakes up in bed. That's it. I'm just talking about those two isolated scenes. Now, yes, he does start to go crazy. We see the hints of it. We see it on the ride talking about the Donner Party and watch it on the television and all. Yeah, and you should have gone to the anyway, just that stuff. I do understand what you're saying. I don't think you see crazy. I think the first time you see crazy is when Wendy comes in the room in that fucking awesome scene when he's typing and he flips out on her. I think that's the first time you see it. Now, the thing is, people say these complaints. To me, it makes more sense that a guy like that is more likely to flip out and kill his family than fucking happy-go-lucky Joe who shows up to the place and then.
True.
I'm sorry, you don't need that arc. It makes more sense that someone that already has some fucking tendencies. We already know he drinks. Now, this is from Stephen King's novel. We already know for a fact that he's broken his kid's arm by accident, whatever, by using too much force. He's lost a job as a teacher. He's had these issues. He already has darkness in him. So already having those seeds planted, to me, it makes sense. Obviously, this guy has some type of penchant towards darkness. He drinks. He's been violent. There's been issues. You can see the way Wendy talks. It's almost like her words coming through him when she's like, purely an accident. When she's talking to, it always reminded me of, like, I think she delivered that line that way because it sounds like Jack later when he's talking to Lloyd, the same type of inflection in her voice. It always seems like Jack's voice coming out of her because she's been conditioned by him because he runs her show too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she's timid, she's scared, she's his puppet.
And Dave, like, I'm nitpicking here in the sense of, like, these are my little quibbles with the movie. But it doesn't hinder my overall enjoyment of said film. Like, it's just saying I would have liked a little bit more. But you're right. Yeah, I can't disagree with what you're saying right now. The darkness is in him already. It makes more sense. There's just got to be a little bit, just some sort of slight transition. I feel like the switch is very, very quick. And it happens quickly.
Well, they never really shed any concentration. They don't shed any They don't really shed any positive light on him because they talk about the alcohol. They mention he's been sober for 5 months. They talk about him losing the job as a teacher, but him telling his 5-year-old son about the Donner Party being cannibals is crazy. No father would do that. So you could see it starting to take him over and influence him, and he's starting to lose it. But I think it has to do more with the relationship too, with his marriage. I mean, he resents Wendy so much.
Yeah, that's fine.
When he
and Danny.
Well, hold on.
And that room that they got.
Well, no, listen. Hold on. Let me tell you about this. First of all, he didn't tell him about the Donner Party. Wendy brings up the Donner Party, right? Jack answers her question. Hold on. Wendy brings up. I understand. Listen to me. Wendy brings up the Donner Party. Okay, isn't this where the Donner Party, such and such, whatever? Okay, and then he answers the questions, and then the kid asks him, "What's the Donner Party?" And he says they had to resort to cannibalism. Then she interjects and says, "Jack," and he's like, "I know all about cannibalism. I saw it on television." So he already knew.
No father would have said a normal father would have said, "Don't worry about it," or they would have lied.
He just got snowbound. Okay, no, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, but yeah.
And as far as resenting his family, sure, he's the type of guy that's going to cast blame on them because who knows? Who knows what this guy might have been an aspiring author on the way to great things. And again, he just took teaching as a side job. Who knows what happened? Maybe he never wanted to be a father. Maybe he never wanted to be married. He hooks up with this woman. I'm not making excuses. I'm just trying to say what may be going on in his head and what frankly goes on in a lot of married men's heads when they're unhappy with their marriage. They're going to cast these fucking people hold me down. If it wasn't for them, I would have a lot more money. I would have this. I would have success. Now he's resorting to drinking because he has some inner fucking turmoil. So yeah, he does resent his position in life that now because he got fired from his job and now he has to start all over again at how old he is, 40 years old, whatever the fuck he is. I got to start all over again. I got to go to this job just to prove that I could be reliable for something. And then I can work on this book, hopefully get it published. And then this is the start of good things. Then when the possible thought of them leaving that thing at all, that's why he flips the fuck out on her. It is so fucking typical for you to bring this up when I'm finally into my work. And, that old thing, I've let you fuck up my life so far. I am not going to let you fuck this up. I understand where someone in his position is coming from when he's that angry. Would I say that out loud to my wife? Of course not. That's the difference. That's why everything he says in this movie is nothing I would ever say. But I can look at this guy as this type of character who is abusive and miserable and and drunk and everything else. But if you want to talk about him being a hero, he's a hero as far as his performance goes. Jack Nicholson's this is my favorite performance of anybody in any fucking not horror movie ever.
I'm glad you say that because I tend to sometimes I view this movie and I'm like I feel like he's overacted. And then my daughter and my wife were like, "No, you think so? No. Like he's creepy. He's great." But I tend to sometimes think he goes into that overacting realm at some scenes. I don't know why. It's just the way I've always been with the movie. I don't let it get to me. I try not to let it ruin the movie for me. It never does. But I've also read a lot of reviews that say he flat out overacts in this film.
I don't think he overacts in it. I think he's terrific. In fact, I don't like the criticism of, and we talked about it on the trivia episode that we did, of the criticism of Wendy.
Oh, she's a fantastic in this.
Oh, she's great.
Even though she was nominated for Worst Actress at the Razzies that year.
Well, the movie itself was one fucking worst movie at the Razzies, right?
No, Kubrick was nominated for Worst Director, and she was nominated for Worst Actress. That was it.
No, but I'm pretty sure that Friday the 13th and Friday the 13th and The Shining, both coming out in 1980, were up for the worst movie of the year, and The Shining won it. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't think it won Worst Picture, but it was nominated for those two awards. But like you said, all these things make sense of, him resenting, his position in life and, saying these horrible things, but there's no sense of light in him from the start. So it's hard to connect with the character until that one scene when he breaks from the dream and sort of comes back to reality. It's almost like you hadn't seen him the whole entire movie. And that's,
right.
A minor quibble. It's like built up, even if they use like a flashback or something just to give you a little bit of the good in him. Because I do believe there was some good in him, but he just became victim of everything, of his own life and, of course, the hotel.
There was enough good in him. Go ahead.
Sorry, Dave?
No, go ahead.
No, because I was going to take it away from this, so continue.
I'm saying there's enough good in him that he stayed sober for 5 months, that he said, hey, okay, that's it. Whether or not it was because of the ultimatum that his wife gave him, at least he cared enough about the relationship and the family to say, like she said, I'll never touch another drop again. And we know he didn't drink for 5 months because it's a fact.
Yeah, he hands in his chip at the end to Lloyd.
At least he does that. So there was some intent to be sober, but whatever.
Did they ever specify what the name of his book was that he's writing? Did he title it yet?
Not in the movie, possibly in the novel. But honestly, what happens in the novel, and is only touched upon in the movie, if you're aware of the novel, is that he finds these scrapbooks in the basements and things like that. And you can see the scrapbook on the table on two particular scenes in this movie where it's opened up. It's this big scrapbook, and there's all these newspaper clippings, and it's basically about the history of the Overlook. And that is why when he meets Grady later, he says, I saw your picture in the paper. When he says, I know all about you, you blew your wife's head off, you blew your head off, you killed your family, that whole fucking thing. Because he was going to do something completely different. Then when he started finding things out about the history of the hotel and all these things that have happened in it, good and bad, he was going to base his novel on things that have happened at this hotel in a manner of speaking. They were figuring into his work.
Well, my mind was definitely more, again, not to make a joke about it, but just from a sales standpoint, wouldn't it be hilarious to market his book by Jack Torrance and just have every page say, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy for like 200 pages?
Dude, I'm shocked.
People would
shocked
buy
it's
that.
never come out. I would buy it.
Exactly.
I'm shocked.
I know.
But it has to be accurate to
by
the
Jack
film.
Torrance.
You have to go
that
through
would
those
just be
pages
manuscript.
and do it that way.
Yeah, but I mean like in a hard copy cover by Jack Torrance.
Christian, do you wish you had a little boy that lived in your mouth?
No.
No, he wants him to be in his stomach.
Dude, Danny's performance in this is fantastic. What a performance from a kid.
Oh man.
Oh wow. It's
Really?
probably because he had to do every scene like 100 times each.
Yeah,
Well,
he
I
was
don't-
really.
I don't think he did. I think he might have taken it easy on him. I know that Scatman Crothers and Wendy went through fucking hell. That much I know.
Kubrick
fucking,
destroyed Wendy, destroyed Shelley Duvall. She's a mess now because of him.
that's something, ain't it? That's fucked
Yeah.
up. I try not to think about it when I watch the film because.
Am I
you know,
crazy, or when he's riding his little tyke or four-wheeler, whatever it is, around the hotel,
Wheel.
is it red? Big wheel? Is it red at first and then it becomes blue? Or is it always
don't-
blue?
I think it was always blue.
Okay. I don't know why. I thought the first time he was riding it, it was red and then it turns blue. Not that I would analyze it if it did.
Those are
but-
great shots though. Let's talk about the score of the movie first off. The score of the movie, first off, I mean, we've been talking about the movie for a while now already, but the score is beautiful.
So good. Oh my God.
Amazing score, haunting score, and the visuals, the sweeping shots, the helicopter shots at the time. Now they'd be drone, but helicopter shots when it comes down through the valley and up, and then showing.
How'd they make the helicopter so quiet? No, that's the landscape and the shots are stunning. They really are. And when they reuse the exact shot but at night in Doctor Sleep, oh God.
And awesome. Yeah, it's beautiful. And then the of course the location's amazing. The Outlook Hotel as a main location's fantastic.
How about the Overlook?
Hedge maze. What did I say? The Outlook Overlook. Sorry, Overlook. The Outlook.
Microsoft Overlook.
Yeah, the Microsoft Outlook Hotel. You fucking skunk. And the maze, the hedge maze, brilliant. That's where Hallahan should have gotten killed. He should have gotten there, maybe been knocked out. Danny and then hightail it into the thing, and then Hallahan comes in to try to help, and then it's a scare or a kill in the maze.
Halloran or Hallahan?
I said what did I say? Hallahan. I called him Hallahan.
Hallahan. Hallahan Solo.
Hallahan on you. Are you? How the hell are you?
I
want to see a black Han Solo, or I want to see Han Solo with Scatman Crothers.
I was saying Hallahan, but go fuck yourself.
I know Hallahan.
I'm sorry. See, I didn't it's funny that you just keep saying everyone's name wrong. Pamela Anderson was in this too. No, you know what's a great shot, and it reminded me of Hereditary's opening shot. Is the shot where Jack's looking at the maze model. And you see them moving around in it.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Dude, I think Hereditary kind of stole that when they're looking in the dollhouse at the beginning, and then they come to life in the dollhouse.
Let me tell you something about Hereditary. Sorry, see, you keep breaking up on me, so I don't need. That's what.
I thought that was a joke. Like, let me tell you something about Hereditary, and then I'm not gonna say a damn thing.
No. When I went to see Hereditary with my wife, the first thing I said when the movie ended was, I go, and there we see once again The Shining's influence on modern films still. That was one of the first things I took away from Hereditary, is that it was inspired by The Shining. Because this movie has inspired, and I spot it every single time. Maybe there's been times that I've been wrong and I've been reaching because of my love for the movie, but I don't know. I see things all the time, and I say, that's from The Shining. It happens all the damn time, and it just it continues to influence. But as far as Halloran and where he dies, earlier on in the film, when he is bouncing the ball, when you see Jack in the Colorado room doing the thing, it actually happens to be by the spot where Dick gets killed later on in the film, and on top of that, there's a little black bear. There's a little stuffed animal wearing similar clothes, laying on the ground where Halloran ends up dying. So it was foreshadowing something. Oh. And as long as you're talking about clothes, back to the Native American thing, there's the opposite thing. Everybody's wearing red, white, and blue. There are flags all over the movie, all kinds of American flags. And all the clothes that Danny and Wendy wear throughout the whole movie are all red, white, and blue. You can't tell me this doesn't. Again, I'm not putting on that hat and saying that every single thing. I'm not talking about the distance to the moon and the guys where they shake hand. It looks like it's his dick and you play things backwards. I'm not saying that, but I am saying that Kubrick did have intent on some of these things, and those are the only things I'm going to point out.
I will say that someone of Kubrick's stature from a director standpoint, that would play into it. Like Hitchcock did, costumes meant stuff. Angles meant stuff. They wasn't just there for shits and giggles. There's a reason why they do things the way that they did things, and the reason why they would do them over and over again. Framing, what's in the frame, that all plays into it. But yes, you're right. When it starts getting into the way they come in and shake hands and whatever, sometimes I feel like that's stretching and reading into it maybe a little too much. But I respect them for trying. But definitely things like the style of clothes and the color choices definitely mean something.
Yes.
Or were put there because Kubrick wanted them there.
And Halloran also had to die because of, the opening the first time Danny shines, and he has the image of the blood flow in the hotel, and that face he makes, that screaming face. That's the face he makes when Dick gets killed. That's the exact face. That's the foreshadowing of his reaction to Dick. He doesn't know it, but that's the exact scene. After Dick gets killed, that's the face he makes. Yep. So those are the two scenes that it's foreshadowing. I guess he doesn't shine well enough to know that Dick just got killed. Otherwise, he'd be like, "Hey man, Dick, you're gonna die."
This is a movie that I like to watch by myself. I actually like late at night, no lights, by myself. I don't want any distractions.
I like when you watch it alone too. I like when you watch it alone.
I watched it with the family this time. I watched it with my daughter, who really wanted to see it, and my wife, who's seen it numerous times before. My daughter wasn't blown away. She said there were things that she liked, but overall she was expecting more, just knowing that it was a quote unquote classic, and that I was going on about it.
Well, it's weird because this is a slow burn, whereas I think if she feels that way, she'd probably prefer Dr. Sleep. Dr. Sleep definitely.
Exact conversation. Yeah. Not to cut you off. That's exactly what I said. It said the thing that probably you weren't prepared for is you're here at the Overlook. God for fucking bit, I say anything differently. Hotel with them for this movie. That's it. That's where you are.
With Dick Callahan.
or the maze. I said, whereas the Dr. Sleep plays out like a movie where you're in multiple locations with way more characters and this, that, and the other thing. I said, even though it's long and I'm going to be watching the director's cut, I said you would probably much prefer Dr. Sleep, is what my thought process was. She didn't watch Dr. Sleep with me though.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now let me tell you about me and my family. What goes on here? I've probably seen this movie more than any other movie, and since I've been with my wife, 8 years, is it? Since we've been together, it just so happens to be her favorite horror movie too. I've probably watched this with my wife 10 times already, with just her, not counting all the times I watched it before her. So anytime I can put on The Shining, she's watching with me. Now it's gotten to the point that my daughter has now seen it like 5 or 6 times, and this has become, my daughter is so good with, listen to this. We're watching the movie, Frankie and I and my wife, okay? And there's this scene. And now we walk around the house all the time quoting this movie. And I will get to, there are so many things that I say in my daily life from this movie. You would think I was nuts. I say shit, little things. It's like the part when he goes, "Oh, you're the important one." And he fucking, in that, and things. Little things that I have said throughout my life. Go check it out. That is the thing I say all the fucking time. If I say if the word check it out is said in this house between my wife or I, the other person is going to automatically say, go check it out. Always. It's just, we quote this movie non-fucking stop. I mean, the word situation that I use over and over and over again solely comes from this movie because of Delbert Grady. Did you know that your son is attempting to bring an outside party into this situation? That whole word situation got started for me fucking 20 years ago, and I never stopped using it. Anyway,
he didn't use the word situation in his first 30 years of life.
Well, no,
I didn't. Raise your head. What are you doing?
I didn't use situation. I wasn't as obsessed. We're watching this movie. Listen now, we're watching this movie, and there's the scene with this is what it's, we're watching the movie, and this is what happens. Dick says to Danny, okay? He says, "What kind of ice cream do you like?" Okay? My daughter simultaneously answers with Danny, says chocolate. And then I simultaneously answer with Dick, chocolate it shall be. It's to the point that I could quote the movie throughout, and my wife is catching up to me at about 80%, and my daughter's probably at 50%. So this is the Zendano family fucking movie now. This has always been my movie. Everybody in this house is getting to the point that they can watch it and quote it, like start to finish. And it's so much fun now because of that. Except they always tease me about being Jack. You know, "Oh, Dad, this is you. This is you." He says this. I'm like, "I'm not that bad." I go, "Well, I may think that way. I would never say it to you, though."
You're the best damn bartender from Timbuktu to Portland, Maine.
Well,
I think they expand on that part in in Dr. Sleep, and I think it's the director's cut version because I don't remember them going into the detail that they did in the regular cut with him talking about how. Well, we'll get to.
They do
Dr.
extend
Sleep.
it. You are. That is
Yeah.
one of the extended
Yeah.
scenes. Yes, but I like you, Lloyd. I've always liked you. The whole fucking thing. Best goddamn bartender from Timbuktu to Maine. Portland, Oregon, for that matter. But no, yeah, I could do this the whole fucking movie with Jack's lines. I would say bar none. I know every one. There's very few movies I could do that. But again, I love his performance. I love his character. Even though he's a heel, he is the best heel to me, and it's the best performance. And this movie has so many classic scenes. You have scene after fucking scene after scene that are just, to me, they're just classic scenes. It's just, so much is going on here.
When he's staring out that window when they first go out into the maze and he's staring out that window, like that's when you're like, he's fucking gone. That's it. He's gone.
Oh, that look is amazing.
That look.
And the
like,
music they play.
Yeah.
During it. The music is perfect for every. When you think about a scene in this movie, how many times do you hear the music for that scene? Like the boom when he pulls into and sees the fucking the twins. The music that's played in 237 when he gets there. The music that's played when he's holding his son on the bed, which is the most haunting scene in the movie to me now. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump in. That scene with him looking out the window.
No, it is. The scene, you know what? That is an underrated scene, him with Danny on the bed, because that's a scene where also there's a little bit of humanity in him there. Even though he seems like he's drugged out of his mind, he's saying nice things to Danny, and he seems genuine. You know, the things he's saying to him, you know, I've always loved you. I would never do anything to hurt you. I wish we could stay forever, you know, stuff like that.
Right after the twins say it to him.
Exactly. Yeah. I even wrote that. Yeah.
Yeah, forever and ever, and then he said
forever and ever, and that I even have a line connecting the two right here on my notes. Now, am I crazy? Like, granted, it doesn't matter. I mean, it actually makes more sense if this is true. But when he's talking to Lloyd, does he say something about it happening 3 years ago?
He fucks up. Yes, he fucks up because he even says this is the problem. Because he is right about the first thing he says. Here's to 5 miserable months on the wagon.
Yeah.
All the irreparable harm that it's caused me. Okay, so he's acknowledging he's been sober for 5 years. But then when he talks about the injury to his son, yeah, he does say that.
So 3 years. 3 years. What wasn't it like right before he got sober? Like probably 6 or 7.
Goddamn years ago. Yeah. It was,
I like it though because that just shows he's completely out of his fucking mind. Like it's. He might have said that. He might as well have said it was 40 years ago, even though the kid's 5.
He is on that scene, and he does say that. You're right. I think it's because of the intoxication. He is lured in. He even starts to exhibit traits of someone who's drunk. You can't tell me that he doesn't seem like a drunk person in the final act of the film, the way he's acting, especially when he's walking through the maze. Oh, no. That's a fucking drunk person. You know what I mean?
I triple dog dare any one of our listeners to find a still of Jack Nicholson from this movie where he doesn't look fucking crazy. Just go ahead.
I agree.
And I just look for stuff, and on top of it, I think I want to re-edit the interview scene, and just whenever they cut back to him, just have like, I think you're not going to see it because of just have it cut to that shot every time.
There it is.
That's the greatest. And I know what he's
feeling. Do you think you're going to take this job?
How about that? Yeah,
he looks bad shit. What?
He's covering up. Someone doesn't want to be pictured.
What's with the bear? The guy in the bear suit and the guy?
I love that scene.
You're not into furries?
It's creepy, but it's creepy because
amazing.
What the fuck? It's a what the
it's
fuck
amazing.
moment.
I fucking love it so much. It's so out of fucking left field. But I will attempt to explain it.
Is that Barf from Spaceballs? It looks like Barf from Spaceballs.
Bartholomew.
Barf. That's what I thought about. I'm like, it's Barf from Spaceballs.
Oh my god.
Amazing. I want to hear
explanation
because I always wondered about that too.
Here's the explanation. As far as it being in this movie, I think it's just done for whatever to be a fucked up scene. But there is a scene. Pardon me. There is a situation in the book, and there's a party that they flash back to, and during that party, there was something happened. It was a costume party, and that night these two men engaged in a homosexual act and they weren't known to be homosexuals. And in this thing, a guy was holding a leash, and at the end of the leash was a guy dressed up in a dog costume. Like, I think the guy dressed up as a dog for this party, and this other guy said, I'm going to take the leash and walk you around. And they ended up doing this thing and making everybody laugh, all these,
I
freaking...
I actually think the dog now that you say that. I think it is
well,
a
that's
dog.
what it is, but it looks more...
It looks more bearish.
100%, it looks more bearish, but the implication there, that's like one tiny little scene that comes from the book that he decided to keep into the movie, so he showed something like that happening. But in the book, that's what happens.
It's crazy because I used to think like, oh, what the hell does this mean? And like, of course, it comes from the book, and that's awesome. Like, because I didn't know that because I haven't read the book, but to me, like watching it now, it's like, okay, like obviously this hotel is dark and there's more craziness and debauchery that went on beyond just the stuff we know about, beyond Grady, beyond what's happening with the Torrance family. So we know there's a lot of dark history here. So I just looked at it as more debauchery and horrors, and it's really frightening looking when you see it there.
Yeah, he just sort of looks up and
Barf.
We haven't talked. I mean, we have talked about it. We danced around it. But that woman in the tub was the stuff of nightmares when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Another thing that was just an image that I couldn't like unsee. It just
woman in the
burns
bathtub
itself in.
Is Grady's wife, right? Woman in the bathtub is Grady's wife?
Not necessarily. That's the implication. People think it, but I don't necessarily think that's what it is, and I don't think it matters.
I don't think it matters either. The only reason why I could see it might be because you do see she's a beautiful woman at first, then she becomes hard. Maybe he drowned her in the tub, and the way she looks is just the effect of leaving her in the tub, and her spirit and her body just rot, and that's why she presents that way. And then he went and axed the twins, but yeah, I mean, either way, like it doesn't matter if it is or isn't. It's still
bloated and peeled. Yeah, because she turns into that nice looking rod that he.
Oh yeah.
She wigs me out. She wigs me out even when. No.
Even normal?
Yes, even normal. Something about the way she moves and looks. It's always kind of like wigging
body
me out.
horror again. The body horror.
Honestly, though, when she's all fucked up, you should hear her podcast voice. Mwah.
Back to that. Okay, I do know her voice.
You should hear her podcast
voice.
Oh.
All I know is the laugh is the best.
That's fucking
over and
creepy.
Over again. Oh. And the best part of it all is that even after he leaves and closes the door and he's running down the hall, she's in the room sitting by herself still laughing. I love it. Just think about that.
Yeah.
She's still in
it's
there.
Creepy. It's creepy as shit.
I know. It's amazing. I love. Go ahead.
I have one other question. I won't say quibble question. Danny's okay running around. Danny's okay running around. I hit my computer. Running around in the fucking hedge maze when it's sub-zero temperatures all night long. Jack is wearing a fucking coat and he's the one that freezes to death.
Well, Danny gets out.
He's out there, right? He's out there much longer.
Yeah, Jack's out there till the next morning.
Well, because he freezes to death in mid-pursuit.
He's nuts. I think at some point he just probably sat down and just was like, I'm going to freeze here. He's nuts.
I just found that a little weird. I did turn to my wife there and she said, yeah, I kind of agree with that. It was just odd. They do cut to him afterwards in that kind of haunting and yet somewhat silly shot of him frozen in daylight.
That's haunting.
I love it. I love that shot. I love, we haven't really talked much about Danny, but I love his Tony voice. And I love the idea that he reverts to Tony because he's so traumatized by what's going on that he's almost like in hiding. Like Tony is taken over to protect him. And I love the fact that you think Tony is, obviously you don't if you've seen it 100 times like most people, but if you watch it for the first time, you think Tony is some evil force inside Danny when Tony is,
I thought it was Tony Danza.
I was
waiting for Tony Danza.
and then Elton John came on and sang Hold Me Closer, Tony Danza.
Yeah.
Oh. Midnight with the stars and you. Midnight and a rendezvous.
Let me tell you about this fucking. Oh, God, there's so many places I can go. Let me go back to what you just said, C. You were talking about 237. I fucking love 237. I love that scene. It's incredible. Once again, there's a mirror involved. When he makes the discovery of what it is, it's through a mirror. Also, back to the Lloyd scene when he's having the discussion with Lloyd. There is a mirror behind Lloyd. There's all the shit with mirrors. Mirror with the red room thing at the end.
Dude,
Anyway,
there's mirrors when he's drunk and walking down the hallways, and you did that thing where he's going, ugh. You see the mirrors, and if you look like in the reflections of the mirrors and stuff, like
but that's always we talked about this when we did Dressed to Kill, the doppelganger, kind of like dual. There's two sides of personality, whatever.
Yeah, dual personality, yeah,
whatever it may be, like a reflection of, like, just you can read it in so many different ways. I love that shit too. That's cool.
There is, and 237, that fucking room. I 100% love everything about that room. If I had a mansion, I would have 237 put in my fucking, because I am in love with that carpet. Everybody loves the other carpet that everybody always talks about, the regular, which I think is great, but 237 is the best carpet in this fucking hotel.
I don't know if I broke up, because I know that it's been kind of wonky on your end, so maybe I broke up. But earlier, I jokingly said they also seemed very disappointed in the room they got. Where he's like,
oh yeah,
and she's like,
no, he likes it.
And, no, they don't seem to like it. They seem like, we were all looking at each other going, they don't like this. And my wife's like, oh, because it's so small. I'm like, well, it's a room though, and there's multiple areas, but they seem very disappointed. And she's like, well, look, when they go in the room 237, for instance, it seems so much more, larger. Excuse me.
You know why?
And more to it.
You know why? Because that's just a regular room for a king. Where in this room, they get a family room because they have the extra bedroom for Danny. That's why he looks in and he goes, perfect for a child, and then he comes over and he pushes the thing in the bed and he goes, cozy.
Yeah.
I can see that.
He seemed disappointed.
He was disappointed, but they
cozy,
referenced that he gave it to them because it's easy to heat and it's sort of like more functional than taking a bigger room in the hotel. But they said feel free to use the hotel.
Sure. But they did it because there was that extra room there for Danny to sleep in. Where the other roommate probably didn't have that. But I guess when he says, "Well, it's very homey," and he has that grin, I never took it as disappointment, but I think you might be right because cozy and homey, I could see being
their descriptions and their facial expressions show disappointment.
Okay.
But they're trying to be polite about it because, of course, they're the new kids on the block. I don't know if you saw Donnie, but he was there.
Right stuff.
And they're employees, and so I think they weren't trying to offend, but I think they were disappointed.
Don't let it get you down, Mrs. Torrance. No, I hear you. And one more thing that you said before. The maze. I think that there's so much adrenaline through Danny. There's no time to think about being cold or anything like that. He's running for his life. He's 5 years old. He's just trying to escape his father. Where his father's on a different level of thinking. That's why I don't think you think about cold. He's just booking it freaking nonstop, running away from his father. So I think it's a lot of adrenaline. That's why I don't think
I maybe a shot or two of adrenaline going through me too if I was trying to axe my family to death.
Well, yeah, but it's different
when
with him.
He's stuck in there.
He's beat up. He's walking slow. Danny boy. And he's walking.
Because he got knocked down the stairs. You're correct.
He's already hurt. He's limping.
Beat up.
He's probably got a head injury.
Right. He does have a head injury. She whacks him with the bat when he goes down the stairs.
Yeah. No, I'm saying
he's not unconscious. Unconscious, mind you. That she's able to pull him and put him in the thing. Unconscious. I mean, in the fucking head.
I can't mind anything if I'm unconscious.
Give me the bat. Wendy. That is the best.
I know you're saying that's the best. That's the part that I'm like, it just pulls me out a little bit. That's when I turn to my wife and daughter and I'm like, he's kind of, this is the part that always kind of rubs me the wrong way. She's like, no, this is good. And my daughter's like, no, he's creepy, Dad. I'm like, okay, it's just me then. And I'm fine with that. I was glad they were enjoying it. But overall, my daughter thought it was a little too slow and not enough scare. I said, hon, you got to watch this by yourself late at night. Trust me, it will get into you.
How about when he flips out, when she discovers his writing and he starts flipping out and he's talking about his responsibility to the hotel. Meanwhile, the only image you see throughout the movie is Wendy going to the boiler room. Wendy was the one running the hotel.
She was the one bringing food to the room.
Jack did shit. She was the caretaker of the Overlook.
He was writing.
He was writing exactly, but he's like
novel
he's
that I
like-
want to.
He's like, this is my responsibility to this hotel. I was like, she's the one going down, checking the boiler, doing all this, doing all the cooking, and taking care of everything. She's running the hotel here. But I
That's correct.
my wife
That's
said
correct.
that,
But he's saying,
sorry,
go ahead.
Dean, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No,
I just was. I had it on the brain. My wife was like going, "Well, what a shit job she's got. She's got to like play like cook now for the whole winter and whatnot." That's what. So Danny was 5 years old, correct? We've established that he's 5 in this. So when did he break his arm?
when he was
5 months earlier.
4 and a
There's
half.
only
Yeah.
okay.
Preschool. Because that's why they pulled him out of preschool. So,
Okay.
oh shit, what were we saying now? That scene. Wait a minute, I lost my
Well,
train.
you're talking about her doing all the work.
Okay, so she's doing the work. He's writing, but when he's at that point in the movie, she wants him to fucking leave. She wants him to leave, and then there goes his job. You know what I mean? That's what he's mad about. What would happen to me, if I could? I have signed an agreement, a contract. He's like, if I leave now, what's gonna happen to me? Because he talks about it earlier. Do you ever realize what would happen to my career if I were to leave now? He goes, what would I be? I have an agreement with these employees as an employer. I have agreed to stay at this place, until May the 1st. That's why he's saying that. He just said, he's mad because she wants to leave. He just wants to fucking stay. He doesn't care about the day to day. His job, as far as he's concerned, is that now he has enough solitude to write the book. He just wants to write this fucking book. That's his gig. You know what I mean? Until the wheels come off and he goes to the bar, and first he meets Lloyd, and then he goes to the Gold Room later for the party, and then, now he's like, okay, well, your son is trying to fuck shit up here, and you're an employee of this hotel, and so am I, and so is everybody here. You got to do what's right by the hotel, by management. You know what I mean? That's why they're buying you drinks and everything else. So, yeah, all she has to do is make sure the place doesn't, you got to mess with the boiler, you got to do a couple things. If something breaks, fix it. But, I mean, the way I look at it, his job is to stay there and write the book to him. And make sure that nobody leaves. They stay there until May.
Yeah.
They can't leave.
Yeah.
That's why he's so upset. But I mean, goddamn, the dialogue in that film, everything that's going on with him, when it's like, you've had your whole fucking life to think things over. What good's a few more minutes gonna do you now? I fucking adore it.
Is this the only movie where the ghosts are snowbirds?
The ghosts are snowbirds?
Meaning that like they only show up during the winter months.
Well, the ghosts are always there.
Yeah, okay, but they're always there. But like from May to like to October, no one's complaining about it.
Nobody can see it. You have to shine. There has to be something going on there. And Dick sees it. Obviously, he knows something's up in 237. He's never there in the off season, so he knows because he's even thinking about it. Because Danny reads his mind. Because Danny out of nowhere says,
What's with three? Why are you scared of room 237?
What about 237? Room 237? You're scared of room 237, ain't you? And he's like, no, I ain't scared of nothing. And he goes, what's in room 237? That whole thing. And he's like, nothing. There ain't nothing in room 237, but you ain't got no business going in there anyway. So stay out. You understand? Stay out.
Damn it, Christian!
Like I'm watching the movie all over again. Yeah, I know.
Why did you say that they had to be snowbirds? Now that's messing with me.
Yeah.
They're not snowbirds. They're always there. The only reason they could see them, Dick, you have to shine. Dick explains it in that very scene.
I know, but Jack doesn't. But Jack doesn't shine.
You don't understand. Jack does shine. Jack has it in him
Wendy.
too. Wendy only sees it at the end when the hotel is so strong that it's actually overpowered fucking reality by that time because it's so strong because of feeding off of Danny and now feeding off of Jack. Jack shines. Jack gets it from Danny gets it from Jack. But Danny's just way more powerful. Kind of like what we're going to touch in on Dr. Sleep. He has a lot more power. And keep in mind, Jack drinks to dull the fucking shine. He doesn't like what's going on. Obviously, Jack shines. That's why he meets Lloyd. That's why he's part of all this shit. He sees things, but has learned to dull it with alcohol. And because when you're an adult, you've already dulled it with alcohol. You get older, you pass it off as something else. And some people have like psychic abilities in real life, maybe if you buy into that, and choose not to fucking acknowledge it because it's ridiculous or it's scary to them. It's the same shit.
If I shine, I must shine too then because I see the ghosts. So if I didn't shine, this would be ghost free, this movie?
But you know what I'm saying? Wendy doesn't see shit till the end. And when she does see it, it's just a couple of things. It's because the hotel has gotten so strong at that point. And now they've sacrificed Dick. They sacrificed someone who's come in that place that does shine. Danny sees it all. It's just like he says. Things are here. But he says, not things that anybody can see, but only people that shine can see. Those are his exact words to Danny. So he's like, it's pictures in a book. Don't let it fuck with you. You know what I mean?
And really, then they only ruin it with that one, because she only sees that one guy that toasts her, right? At the end.
Well, she sees the guy in the bear. She sees the skeletons.
Yes.
She sees
And
the
she sees the
skeletons.
She's blood, actually. That kind of does seem like a little bit of a mishap. Just her.
Not a
Just her
mishap because it's only in the fucking third act when shit's hit the fan and the hotel is strong enough to not just be a sleeping hotel. Okay. These ghosts have all fucking. There's enough power now.
It's also a little bit of a mishap on Jack's part if you're saying he shines and he's sober when he first gets there, and in the first month nothing happens. They jump a month forward into the story the minute they're at the hotel. So he should have been he should have been more susceptible to shining before he became crazier.
Who's to say he wasn't, and that's what was going on with him. He's sucked into the dark side of it. That's why he's going crazy. Because the hotel is fucking like I said, or if you want to go the hell thing, like I'm saying, and he's forced to relive his own hell. Either way, they're attracted to them both for different reasons. You know what I mean? Jack is fucking being used. Danny is like the light.
He's a meat vessel?
Yes, he is. 100%.
Yeah, that's how. Okay, yeah, you
it's
just
like
said
Poltergeist.
That's how I see it. They're using Jack as a vessel to get to Danny.
Yes.
Yes.
That's correct.
I'm
more powerful.
But I'm not really sure Jack shines or the Overlook just opens itself up to him. Either way, it doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything. I'm critiquing again simply for the fact of having a podcast. If we all just came on here and be like, I love this, I'm just trying to make sense of certain things. I still love this film either way. But I guess the argument as to whether Jack has some shine in him or not is meritable.
I came up with questions. It's exactly that. I had to come up with questions because I knew if anybody was going to have the answer, it'd be Mr. Number One Movie, Dave Z over here. Like, I mean, and not in a bad way. This is what we do.
No.
Right? I've screwed the pooch on The Craft. If you told me The Craft is your number 2 movie of all time, maybe I would have come more prepared for the game.
No, listen. No. Jack may not shine. Maybe that's the wrong terminology. If you're taking what I'm saying before, he's reliving this hell and he's susceptible to all these bad things. He sees Lloyd and everything changes. He gives into it. And right before he sees Lloyd, what are his words exactly to the T? I'd give anything for a drink. I'd sell my goddamn soul for a beer. As soon as he says that, he looks up, boom, there's fucking Lloyd. So in other words, he's giving the hotel himself. He's coming to that conclusion that I'm going to sell my goddamn soul for a drink. And boom,
it's a very dreamlike state from then on. Because if you notice, when he first gets there, no money in the wallet. When he comes back later, the money is back in the wallet.
Yeah, I know, which is great.
I love it. I like that stuff.
They could have easily had a throwaway line with because he says, like, I know you shine, and he says not everybody shines or whatever. He goes through that. He goes, where'd you get it from? Your daddy or whatever. They could have put that in, but they didn't. They chose not to. So I don't think
he kind of throws it into Dr. Sleep when he says everybody has a little bit of light and dark in them. Yeah.
Right. How much do they have, and how much and how susceptible are they? Just like they say that everybody, could, if they open themselves up to psychic phenomena.
Everybody could shine.
It's basically going along that line, but that there's only some people that know they have it and that are very strong and they can use it. Danny is like a Jedi. Danny is like, you know what I mean? He is extremely strong, stronger than anybody. You know what I mean? Until at this point.
Jesus. And we could go on and talk. I know we can, but at some point we're gonna have to tailor it because we've got another full movie that I have a feeling we're gonna be talking about just as much. So I don't know if there's final thoughts or feelings. I know I'm always the one that kind of rushes it up, but I think we kind of like we hit along a lot of it without doing the crazy 237 deep dive. And I'm so glad we didn't do that. I think we talked about what was important from the movie standpoint. I don't think we need to go into the craziness of every camera angle because I don't think everything holds the weight and meaning that they say. I think there's a reason why they do things, and I think sometimes it's just the flow of the camera and the movement of the film that Kubrick was interested in as well. He likes his movie to have
the
like
Indian burial ground comment could almost it's there in the movie, but it doesn't have to be, like you said, deep dived into. And like I said, I enjoy this film more now because I find it very simplistic. I don't
there's a rhythm
overanalyze
to
it.
it.
There is a rhythm
I
to
think
it, and there is a lot to analyze. But like you said, Dave, the way you see it with the Overlook is completely powered up, feeds off Dick Shine, is now revealing everything to Wendy. But also another way to look at Dick Shine. but also, even if you look at it in a different way, Wendy's personality has changed. She's become a strong alpha. She's no longer the submissive anymore. She's taking control. So she's opened herself up now where she can see these things. She's like, I'm taking control. And that's when she starts to see the true horrors in front of her. There's a lot of stuff that can be analyzed, but basically at the end of the day, I think it's a pretty flawless film. I do have some nitpicks, but it doesn't change the fact that what's there to me is perfect.
And even the nitpicks to me are, again, what I love about movies, because I have nitpicks about all my favorite films.
Jack is crazy the whole time to me, but he's great as crazy. So the fact that I want to see him normal doesn't matter, because I think he's crazy the whole time. Even if you don't see it that way, I see it that way. It doesn't matter. He's so great as being crazy. The fact that Dick dies so quickly, I would have liked them not to, but that's awesome. How many times do we complain that they don't kill a character off too quickly, or they let everyone, who's important live? That's kind of a shock the first time you see that. You're like, oh, Dick's going to be, I understand he's a hero to an extent that he distracts Jack from Wendy, but, it's sort of like it's not really like a very noble death. He's just walking and boom, great kill. No. Shocking, that scream, and it's just axe to the chest, dead. All of a sudden, a great character gone just in an instant.
You think awesome. they do the setup. I think if you're watching this for the first time, you're like, here he comes to save the day. Nope. And I think that actually holds a lot of weight. We're looking at it again from multiple viewings. But if you have to go back to that first time, that would be a setup of like, here comes the hero. They're going to take him down and
here comes
the
hero.
Hero. Yeah, hero. And you know what? I have to, just to continue this, Robert Duvall's performance in this is just amazing. I'm kidding. Shelley Duvall. I've been screwed up everybody's name. Might as well make that joke. Shelley Duvall, we said it earlier, her descent into, not crazy, but into just fear. Very few get this right. And I think she gets it perfect in this movie. I think Marilyn Burns in Texas Chainsaw Massacre gets it. And I think she does it well in this as well. I'm sure there's other ones, but those are the two that come to mind with just being
Pamela Anderson in Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th. I just wanted watch this.
You're doing Get to the Hall. I'm crushing your head.
Crushing it. Nice. Anyway, I'm sure there's other ones that I'm forgetting off the top of my head, but those are the two that come to my mind, where you're just being surrounded by madness and the actual reaction that you have. It's a beautiful performance. I can't believe she was even remotely nominated for a Razzie.
I think it's whenever, you know what, they criticize even like the kid in the Babadook is another big one who gets criticized a lot. I think it's a great performance. I think it's the way the character is supposed to be. It's flawless for what is supposed to be shown on screen. So I don't get it. I don't get it
either. I don't know. I think she's great. I think she does what she's supposed to do. I think everybody does. Let me ask you this. This is what I was getting at earlier. And I want to take 10 minutes just to talk about the shit I love. But hold on. Let me just say.
We're not going to let you.
I know. If this movie was made today, they would call it a Me Too movie. Am I correct? 100 fucking percent.
Yeah.
1980. Guess what? It's not. It's 1980. If this movie was made in 2020, they would insist, this is a Me Too movie. That is the problem with injecting politics into every fucking thing you watch, do, listen to, everything. That is the bullshit that goes on.
It could be worse than that. It could be even worse than that. If they put Bono in this, it'd be a YouTube movie.
Awesome. No, that's great.
We move in mysterious ways.
I just want to interject that because This
Not
is
the
what
sun.
happens. Everything nowadays has to be a swerve or a statement of fucking this, that. If this movie was made in 2020, they would say that it's a Me Too movie. Guess what? It's not. People, there are abusive men and there are victims that are female to them and everything else. That doesn't mean anything. Am I insensitive to any of this shit? Fuck no, of course not. My daughter went through shit. She's been shit. Who's to say I haven't been through stuff when I was a kid from people? No, things happen. Everything doesn't have to have a political slant. That's the problem with movies and art now being subjective nowadays to every fucking thing. This is just a story Stephen King wrote. A guy abused his wife. At the end, she overpowered him in a matter of speaking. Things happen. So what?
Yeah, she's
And I
definitely
agree.
She
They
changed.
should be injected, but by putting it and doing it now, it's the climate that we're in now that dictates the movement that gets attached to the movie. That's the difference. It's the time frame. I agree, Dave. I wholeheartedly agree, but that's the reason.
Art
That
hasn't
is the reason,
changed.
yeah.
Art hasn't changed. People's interpretation of it is the problem. Like, okay, Fiona Apple just came out with her album last week. I adore her. I've listened to the album 6 times in 8 days. That's how much I love it. Okay, there was an article put out about how this is a Me Too album. This is the same fucking subject material that Fiona has done since the 90s. It's the things she's singing about. There's no difference in what she's saying on this album and in any other albums. But now, because it's this 2020, this is a Me Too album. Get the fuck out of here. That's the problem with freaking
The same thing about my argument with Slumber Party Massacre. Now, that was made in 1982, but because it was directed by a woman, it's suddenly a feminist slasher film? I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, American Psycho, I can make the argument for. American Psycho, directed in 2000. What she did with that movie, I think, does play into it more so. That I can agree with. Definitely more so. It's not Slumber Party Massacre. Slumber Party Massacre, I don't think it was directed by the same person. It's kind of like saying that Humanoids from the Deep is a feminist horror film, a monster movie, because it was directed by a woman. It's not. It's still playing into the same exploitation nature of the genre. So. Right. Again,
it just is what it is. I just wanted to say that because
I think that's what it boils down to. Yeah.
I just want to say that because I think things like this need to be heard because it's like me, and I'm not coming from a conservative slant because I am 100% not conservative in the slightest. But I look at things because I'm a centrist. I look at things for what I think they are. This is this is that, whatever. You know what I mean? And I'm not insensitive. Just like the joke I said last show, which took off on the page a little bit about the voices of the females. You know what I mean? It's funny, but it's like I said, when I was delivering pizzas, when I had the pizzeria back in it used to happen all the time. We would take an order on the thing, deliver to this place, and all of us would jump at it. Oh, this girl sounded real pretty. Boy, she sounded hot. Then you go there, 90% of the time it isn't true. So be it. Maybe I love all female voices. Maybe it's.
And 100% of the time, it never turned into the porno movie that it was always playing around in your mind, going, "This is the time they're going to invite me in to fuck them."
Did you ever cut a hole in the box? And stick Junior through the middle of the pizza?
Here it is.
Extra
pepperoni. I did order.
I didn't do it. I should have. But I'm not a creep. And I'm not that type of guy that wants to shit on Me Too movements. And yes, am I sensitive that things happened? Yes, of course I am. My God.
Yeah. Any type of abuse shown in a movie today is Me Too. Any type of woman taking charge is a feminist movie. And
it's not true.
This one has both, and it's not either of them.
And how about people that say that every movie that's made is making some type of artistic statement? Bull fucking shit. I can promise everybody listening right now or watching that when Exploding Heads make a movie, we're just making a movie because we want to make a kick-ass horror movie and we maybe want to make some fucking money. That's it. Every movie is not an artistic
with a
fucking
political
statement.
Nothing.
Fuck making statements. Just tell an entertaining story.
That's it.
That's it.
But some people will tell you that every movie is a statement, that the director is trying to say something with that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. That is bullshit. Yes, I agree with you. So anyway,
of movies that has not happened.
Let me just say this. Let me just go through this thing for 5 minutes and then I'll be done. Okay. How funny is it that there's enough blood on the ground to move a chair? I don't think any amount of blood could move a chair under any circumstances. What else? I always wanted to see the pic of fucking. Every time I watch the movie, I want to see the picture with Jack in it when they go by the Colorado Lounge. I wish there was a way I could pause it and see that before the movie ends, like change the angle or do something. It drives me nuts.
Yeah, I wonder
the picture's
if
already there.
the picture's already there. The question is he in the picture already?
Yeah, I think he is. By the way, I'm interpreting
That would be cool. That
but-
would be cool if he was already, and you could see it.
because they show the pictures so many times. I want to
Yeah.
talk about the dart scene being fucking terrifying every time I watch the movie. That fucking scares me. When he's playing darts and the way they zoom in on his face and he looks and just those two girls looking at him smiling and then
Yeah.
walking out the room terrifies me. When he sees the fucking twins the first time in the hallway,
Yeah.
it's fucking terrifying to me. All that shit is. It works for me. It really works for me, you know? But I mean, the maze and the model and he's looking down at it and just so good.
That might be
just-
my favorite shot of the movie. The looking down at the maze, the model maze, and then seeing Danny and Wendy walking around and it transitions
Oh.
to the real maze. I
It's
love that
awesome.
shot.
And how about his
What was
tie?
Yeah, the tie. You know what? I like that. I told a
Cool.
buddy of mine about that. And he's like, "Come
Yeah.
on, that's bullshit. There's no way they
Look
did that
at it.
intentionally." And I'm like,
Zoom.
"What are you talking about?" I'm like, "It's a maze.
It's a green maze.
yeah."
Yeah. And I didn't know this till recently. You know what I mean?
I
There's
didn't know
just-
that till recently either, and that's something like that's cool. Like even if it wasn't done intentionally, I'm buying it that it
Dude.
was.
Yes. And the shot of him when Danny goes in the bedroom, that fucking takes it to another level. Now when he's just sitting there on the
Oh
bed,
God, yeah.
staring at nothing, and the music that's playing, the string instruments in the background, it's fucking terrifying. And when he brings over and the way he holds him and talks to him, you could tell how uncomfortable by Danny's body language, how uncomfortable he is because his father's hurt him before, and then he's getting vibes that my dad's gonna hurt me because of his shine, and he's fucking terrified. That scene is so creepy to me. More than any other shot in the movie now.
It's
that
weird.
scene
It's weird.
fucked me
That's
up.
I get it from his standpoint. It's creepy, but I almost felt like the things that Jack was saying were genuine. Like he's like,
Not by the look on his face. I don't know. I
Well,
think he's fucked up.
I think it's similar to the look, but he says, "I love you. I would never hurt you." I think that's sort of like his almost like a struggle within him. But he wasn't. I don't think he was gonna. He didn't get a sense he was gonna hurt him there. But it's definitely foreshadowing because he says, "Are you feeling bad?"
Yeah, right.
Danny
Just
says that to him.
picks up on it. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know exactly. Man. And married man, are you, Mr. Grady? I fucking love it. The look that he gives him, it's like he's pulling something over on him. He should be disturbed by it, but he's happy. And he's like, and he has that towel in his hand, and he puts it down. And he goes, you know, and then you blew your brains out. Like he's like giving him a fucking, you know what I mean? He's like, I know who you are. I saw you in the paper. He should be disturbed by it, but he's happy. He thinks he's pulling one over on him. I fucking love it. Oh God! And that scene when she does walk in, and when he sees her, when she sees him, and he's like, "How do you like it?" And she screams because she's just think about what's going through this woman's head, and she's reading. That's all he's written is all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. That's fucking terrifying. Just
It's
imagine
terrifying because there's like
reading that.
2,000 pages of it.
That's what I'm saying. Imagine
Can
living
I-
with somebody that's been doing that. Holy
Can I say
fuck.
written by Christian Luciani if I put that book out?
Let's do it.
It will be by Jack Torrance.
Dude, and that's another argument for why he's crazy the whole time because that, a stack of papers that long, he's been writing that for months. So that means he started. That
That's
means the
what's
minute
really
he's
crazy. Yeah.
that's always why I thought like, hey, you're crazy from the minute you got there because you assume he started writing pretty quickly once they settled in.
So that's when she's. I know.
So everything he's writing, it's like, oh my god.
That's why he rips it up, and when she walks in the room, and
Yeah,
then
he
I have
rips
to
it up,
start
or he
from where I was,
takes it,
and
or he
crumples
takes it out. I think at one point he takes a piece out and he puts it face down. Also,
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Now
so
we're
he's
gonna
like
make a
covering
new
it up.
rule. My wife says
Maybe
that's
I
what I
can
say.
Maybe I can read a bit.
Yeah,
I love
right.
the face. She looks so happy. You're not going to read any of it, not until later. I think Doublemint missed a perfect opportunity to sell more gum after this movie came out.
Oh shit. The
Chew
comment-
it for us, Danny.
Chew it for
Oh,
forever and ever.
Yeah.
We should make that. That's something we should make. Holy fuck! Wow.
Would you
Double
get? Would the patrons prefer Exploding Heads movie or just a commercial?
Or
Oh,
which
fuck.
one of the
Commercials
50
in the movie.
movies we've already committed to would they like?
That'll be the next poll.
We have 40 treatments going right now.
I better stop.
Anyway.
I gotta
Yeah.
stop. else
we
is
got to
going on?
because we got to keep on going. We got to talk about Doctor Sleep.
A
Let me
3-hour
guess.
movie.
Let me
Right,
guess,
right.
Dave. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10, of course. God.
I'm interested, Brandon. Brandon looks like he was going that route, but I'm not 100% sure where he's.
I'm not changing my rating. I agree with some of the nitpicks you have, but I'm still at a 10 out of 10 because for a 2.5-hour movie, for me to really have no issues, never look at a clock, and just enjoy every character, and it's a perfect film.
Yes.
Well, I've always gone back and forth. I've never been lower than a 9. I've gotten 9.5 and whatever. I have these questions. I have these little things. Most of them are just me trying to get a reaction out of Dave. I still love the movie. I still adore the score, the feel. Like I say, you watch just by yourself at night, no distractions. I know, Dave, you got the family element there, but I love just sit down, let the movie take me in.
I'm with you.
It is terrifying.
Take you in what?
Yes. Thank you, Shiny.
Woo!
Thank you. May I have another?
Shine on, Dick.
I am going to say 10 out of 10, and it's because all the good scary shit outweighs any of the Jack being crazy right from the get-go. And Dave explained it to me. I can accept that.
Jason's gonna be mad at us. He's gonna be like, you criticize the movie and you give it a 10 out of 10. That's what you gotta do. We gotta critique everything. We gotta break it down.
The emotional impact again. I will take if whether this is good or not. The nostalgic fact of that being embedded in my head and scaring the shit out of me as a kid, and it being able to continue to scare me decades later.
It's for me, entertainment value at the end of the day for me is everything. From a technical standpoint, this film is perfect, but if it didn't entertain me, it wouldn't be a 10 out of 10. And that's where everything lies for me. I know people in that best versus favorite post were getting into, you got to analyze technical and stuff like that. I can't get into there. I can't get into that. To me, at the bottom line, the overall rating comes from enjoyment. Comes from enjoyment. In fact, it has to.
That's fine, and I enjoy because of technical aspects sometimes.
I do too, but I have a perfect
You know?
example for me from a technical standpoint was The Lighthouse. Technically, a beautifully well-made, acted, scored cinematography
but
film.
It's still a movie.
It was a fucking bore, though.
Well, there you go.
So there was no entertainment value. Exactly.
That's
you
fine.
need that. Exactly.
Now look at it from this perspective, B. Look at it from this. If the Neon Demon wasn't presented technically the way it was, would it be a 9.5 out of 10 for you or a 10 out of 10? No, it would be an 8 out of 10 because it would be lacking those attributes that fucking the music and the cinematography and the colors and the presentation technically. So then it wouldn't be as high. So therefore, it's only an 8 out of 10. Because it has those things, it's a 9.5 for me. That's how I sum it up.
Do you know how I'm sorry to take it on a side note here. Do you know how much it bothered me that Army of Darkness, Ash's gun would appear and disappear from a continuity standpoint in the hoister on his back? And I give that movie a 10 out of 10, and I was like always so pissed off, and like the nitpick things that I'll find in a movie that will eat away at me.
It disappeared because he didn't have a holster.
He had a
hoister.
What the fuck is? Oh my god, I fucking hate this fucking guy. I hate him.
I love it. You're giving me gold here. His oyster.
You gotta take it.
Oh, and you know why Danny didn't save Dick? I figured it out right now. Because in like 2 scenes before, Danny was shining and heard Dick call them unreliable assholes.
Yeah, he did.
Got a bunch of unreliable assholes up there.
Assholes.
Yeah. That's why Danny's like, fuck this guy.
Okay, I got to tell you guys about the dream I had about this movie. I had this dream once, okay? And you're going to laugh at me, but it's still scary. In the dream, Kevin Arnold, Wonder Years, okay, is fucking sitting there. And you know that heartbeat that plays, which it goes throughout Dr. Sleep?
Yeah.
When Danny's dreaming? Okay, so the heartbeat is going, actually, no, Danny wasn't dreaming. Dick was dreaming, and it brought it into 237, but then Danny was dreaming too. But anyway, Dick is making that face. He's doing this. He's laying down in bed going,
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Okay, in the dream I had, Kevin Arnold had his face painted white, and he was doing that. And then as the heartbeat is going on, it's going, doom, 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 doom. And his hands are getting closer and closer to his face. And then he puts his hands in his face and rips his fucking face apart with that shit going.
And you stuck Junior in there.
Boom, boom.
He made
and
it
then
wider
the
for you.
Dream ends.
Did you say Kevin Hart?
Kevin
Comedian?
Arnold.
Oh,
Kevin Arnold from the Wonder Years
Kevin
is
Hart.
fucking sitting down with white face paint, and that heart is beating, and he brings up his hand slowly, and he rips his fucking face apart. And then the dream ends, and as the dream ends, that song comes on that's at the end of The Shining. Midnight.
I was with you.
Okay? And then I woke up from that fucking dream, and I was terrified. And I was so afraid that I walked upstairs to go to the fridge to get a drink of water or something or other. This is years ago. I was at my mother's house still. And I thought, what would I do if I looked around the corner and I saw Kevin Arnold there right now? And it would have scared the fucking shit out of me. I would
What
never
if you saw
forget
Winnie?
the
What if you saw Winnie Cooper?
That would help. That would have helped. But that,
Dude, that when he was in what?
You
When
may
he was
have
in White.
frozen now, Dave. We should move on. I don't want to stop this, but we should stop it. Get to the next rating because
Well,
you might be
I just have-
frozen.
One quick
sorry.
question: Who's Frozen?
Okay.
Well, we don't know until we
Oh,
play this
I just
back.
gotta
And then
ask
Dave's-
Dave. Did he start singing Al Jolson when he was in Whiteface? The sun shines east, the sun shines west, but I know where the sun shines best with my mammy.
I'm glad
Only for the
we
moment.
stayed on for that joke.
Okay. Hey, I sang Al Jolson.
If I did freeze, it was only for the moment. Okay? Which is another line that I use all the time, which is what fucking Jack says to fucking Grady when your wife seems to have gotten the better of you. Only for the moment. I can go on and on and on and I'll stop. 10 out of fucking 10. Let's move. Hall of Fame. It's the greatest. I'm happy.
Oh, it was really cool because as we were breaking in between just to cut the recording and make sure that Dave didn't Mr. Freeze on us, Jamie actually posted to our Splitting Heads patrons page, tagging me in it to clarify about the ratings. Because I said that we base ratings on the feels. I said like Jamie says. It's all posted in the page. Because we're running long here, I won't get into it now. But it's kind of cool because I think it reiterates the way we just rated. Well, not for you, Dave. Dave, you was always a 10 out of 10. But the way I rated even The Shining too. Flaws and all, a 10 out of 10. That's what it boils down to.
That's what I wanted
That's
to
what it
say.
boils down to.
I wanted to say something about the ratings. And we pick on movies even that we love, even that are 10 out of 10s, because there's always something that if you can make a joke out of. That might not be funny at first, but if someone points it out, it's a joke. This is what I say to JP. JP always says, he goes, well, you guys never do bad movies. I go, he's like, we like ripping on the bad movies. We like watching a bad movie and picking it apart. My retort to that is, we pick on the good movies too. So it doesn't matter. That's what we do. We have fun with movies that we may think are great, but there are still some things in there that are ridiculous and that we're going to point out. So that's why it's kind of the best of both worlds, because I'm not angry. When I'm talking about Nightmare 4 and I have all those question marks, I'm pissed off. I'm like, how the fuck? That's so stupid. And I still pick on it. But The Shining, I could still laugh about the lady laughing in the door. On and on. There's stuff to laugh at in the movie. But anyway, we got to get off that. We got to get on to Dr. Sleep. But
Dr.
That's my
Sleep
point.
from 2019, written and directed by Mike Flanagan. Years following the events of The Shining, a now adult Dan Torrance must protect a young girl with similar powers from a cult known as the True Knot, who prey on children with powers to remain immortal.
yes, indeed. Great
Dude,
follow-up.
this is such a great follow-up. And I don't know if people complain about the length of this film or the way it's, put together, but they give you so much information in that first like 45 minutes. And I love it. They give you so much more information about, Shining and introducing every single character. I think every character in this film is so well written and well acted. I got to give that to Flanagan. I did notice this time around, and they were bothering me, what Christian calls his Flanaganisms.
The only thing I noticed
the
was
white
one
eyes.
scene.
White
Well,
eyes.
see, this is the deal. I like the white eyes because it signifies something. And let me tell you this. If the eyes weren't white, you wouldn't enjoy the scene. Because then they would look like any normal asshole walking around.
No,
It's
just make
signifying
it look like how Danny looked or Dick looked in The Shining. Just give it a terrifying, expression on the face without the whiting out of the eyes.
But they're whiting
So-
only when they feed, and they're whiting out only when they're doing a serious
I think
attack.
he means not.
I mean,
not the
Abra.
glint, not the glint
That's what I'm
eyes
saying.
of
She's
the
attacking.
of the true knots. I think he means the white
Oh, not
rollback
not
eyes.
the true knot. Just Abra's eyes when she shines really strong. Don't like it.
But she's attacking somebody. She's showing how much she's using her maximum amount of power that she only uses. That's showing power. That's not
No,
just
I
shining.
get what it's doing. I get those are her ultimate showdowns when she goes into those trances. But I don't know. It's a little Flanaganism.
It is. But so here it is. I've watched this movie 3 times. It's gone up each time I've watched it. We watched the director's cut for this episode. And I'm not going to say this is the only cut I'm ever going to watch of this again, but it was definitely great. I loved it. I didn't feel like it was 3 hours long. That's for sure.
This moves really quick for 3 hours.
This has a lot of characters, a lot of locations, and it's growing on me each and every time. Listen, I did not hate this movie when I saw it. I said it was a good movie, and it just needed me. I saw it once. Then I watched it again for the year-end show. And then I now watch the director's cut. And like I said, each time it's gone up. I've enjoyed it more and more each time. And things that bothered me the first time don't bother me as much anymore. The Flanaganism that still's there is there no eyes at one point. They didn't need it.
Part I thought.
No, you know what? You know what? I don't like that part either. But the reason why they did that part is she's tricking Rose at that point. She puts on like the purple wig,
right,
and she makes it so that Rose can't see her face. It is kind of silly. She looks almost like, what is she trying to be, like a Cardi B type or something, like she's like trying to be like a pop star at some point. But we got to remember she is a kid, so I kind of don't mind it because I wrote that down too, but I don't really mind that.
And a side note for the Flanaganisms, it's just that maybe it's his little thumbprint. You know, you're an auteur. This is what I've done in each one of my movies, more or less. There's something in each one of my movies that has the Flanagan sort of seal of approval. I'm okay with that. I think he's not done a bad movie. He's just been good. And the 2 movies that stand out for me are Hush and Dr. Sleep. Those are my 2 favorites.
Well, I like Before I Wake too.
Yeah, but I've liked everything. That's the thing. Like, it comes across as like I don't like him. I'm just saying he's been solid. There's nothing wrong with it. I just don't hold him on the same plateau as a lot of other horror fans do, and that's okay.
Well-written characters.
Yeah, at least his movies.
That's the key for him in every one of his movies. That's the key for him in every one of his movies are strong, well-written characters, even characters that are on screen for 5 minutes in this film.
And this is his best film now.
Are well developed.
I can definitely say without a shout, this is his best film, and it was everything that you've said. I love the tie-ins. I love the fact that it takes place right after. How many times have we said, like, in a way, like, not from a slasher standpoint, because they never do it well, what happened to these characters afterwards? Scream's the only one that really tried to continue an arc with a character, and in my opinion, was kind of unsuccessful. Like, even though I like those movies, the Neve Campbell character with the mom with the ghost in part 3, kind of like this one did it well. This is where I'm going with it. This one did it well, where they take Danny and the mom, they've recreated scenes that are amazing, but they also continue the story beautifully of what happens, what them in the apartment, him still being haunted, the whole boxing up the ghosts and
dude, that's awesome when he learns more about that, learns about the dark and the light, boxing up the ghosts, not being able to box up memories, though. The whole idea of why they live in Florida, because they never want to see snow again. Everything that's really done, really great attention to detail in this. And that opening scene with the little girl, and the opening scene with Violet, the little girl, when she first meets Rose. Whew. Brilliant.
Yeah, it's great because it's haunting without being too explicit, but we get explicit later. And again, just to reiterate what I said, because I talked over you, sorry, Brandon, I'm excited, but we're talking about the film. We're not doing a book film comparison here. We're not talking about.
I will make one comparison at the end because somebody brought it up on the year-end show, and I just want to say why I think that the way they did it in the movie makes sense.
Perfect. And sorry, D, we kind of.
No, I talked.
Falls out crazy.
I talked too much last show. I talked too much on The Shining. No, I'll say this. The reason I love this more now than ever is because watching it directly after watching The Shining, I noticed things that I didn't even notice before. Certain shots, certain decisions that were made that were, tributes to the movie that I didn't even pick up on last time. But watching back to back, I was like, wow, the consideration that Flanagan gave to The Shining, the movie, and bits from the novel. And I know this has been said before, but I mean, there's the way that he married the novel, for the way that he married fans of Kubrick and fans of King, which have been on the other side of the fence. I mean, this is well documented. Was perfect. He tributed it just the best way possible. Just the fact that he pulled off this incredible feat, man, just fantastic.
Well,
such a great job.
I agree. It is like a love letter to the film, and it's a great story unto itself. Where I kind of not shit on it, but just took issue with, that's the way I'll word it, with this new quote unquote vampiric clan, the True Knots or whatever. I wasn't on board with them. I don't know what I was smoking. They're great. Yeah. Rose the Hat's great. Everybody's great. Everything just flowed better. Maybe awesome. Kudos to the director's cut. Again, I don't know. I'll watch the theatrical cut again to compare one other time. Like I said, I don't know if I'll never go back to the theatrical version, but I just want to see what makes the difference here. But the director's cut is about a half an hour longer. Doesn't feel it in the slightest.
No.
There's some great characters, some great secondary characters. I loved Ewan McGregor from the initial view, and I love him as an actor.
Ewan McGregor is a phenomenal actor, and he is probably, the standout in this movie, even though Abra is fantastic, Rose the Hat's fantastic.
Even his buddy who
Billy, great.
His death is one of the saddest moments.
Dude, it was.
The dad, like, they kill. You want innocents killed here. You want people that you care about killed. Well, you don't want them killed. They get killed, is what I'm saying.
And it's horrifying when the True Knot die. When all their steam comes out of everyone they've eaten, and it's like screaming inside them. It's haunting. When Grandpa Flick dies.
I had initially. Sorry, Brad. I'm just like, everything you're saying that was a nitpick I had. I'm like, what the fuck? What's like smoking? Because it is great.
Yeah. My nitpick was two things: the white eyes and the talking baby. When he has the flashback of the woman he left in the hotel, they didn't have to make the baby talk.
They didn't.
Oh, that's haunting. Yeah, that's haunting.
It's haunting, but they didn't have to do it. Just seeing that the baby was dead there, lying in her arms, would have been fine.
Absolutely. I think it feels like a cheap tactic that wasn't necessary. That, again, it doesn't kill. We're talking about nitpicks. It does not hinder my rating in the slightest.
Exactly. This doesn't. I don't deduct points for this. It's just take this out, and it's still perfect.
The story.
And I love the doctor. He calls him Doc. They call him Doc the way that
calls him Doc.
Yeah.
You realize the first guy shines, right? He's the only one that shines. The first patient that he ever had.
Yeah, that's a touching scene, man.
It is a touching scene. There's a couple of them, but that one.
Oh yeah, every scene with the cat with Azzy and him in the hospital bedroom when he's singing to the second patient he has. It's very, very touching, very emotional.
And you notice when the steam came out of the first guy because he shined.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And speaking of screaming, did you guys pick up on when they open up the canisters, you can hear the people screaming, the ones that died?
Yeah.
It's real faint, but you get it from Violet from the beginning because she mentions that it's Violet. And you hear her screaming, but it's real faint, but it's fucking haunting. And then they do it later on with Baseball Boy when she's doing it all. And Baseball Boy is just the most fucking haunting kill I've seen in years.
Dude, especially in a mainstream film.
The way he cries. It's so fucking when they first get him and he's begging for his life, it almost fucking makes me tear
up. And look, getting a big actor like that, he's a well established young actor now, this kid, and they bring him back. He's in it for 5 minutes, but man, he's fantastic. And he was also in Before I Wake.
I think that's it because they had a connection.
But he's very big in.
He brought them all
Hollywood.
back.
He's very big in mainstream Hollywood now. He's done big movies. I mean, he's been in Oscar-nominated movie, The Room, Wonder. My kids played Augie. Good Boys.
So I showed them this. I wanted to just haunt them. So like, check this out.
Watch this. Hold their faces.
It is a brutal scene. The way he screams, like in the theater, my wife because I don't know if I can watch this, and I'm like, I know this is pretty hard hitting, and it doesn't lose any shock value or I want to say appeal because you don't expect it to be happening.
Right.
Like I said, in this type of film, I would expect it more in like maybe a independent film that needs to do something more, not necessarily in a mainstream film. And it's
Flanagan.
It's a shocking. Yeah.
But it's Flanagan who's, for the most part, been an indie filmmaker, and he carries indie actors into this movie with him. You know what I'm saying? People that have been in movies before, he's brought them back. He brought the one that played Callie in Absentia, his first movie, as just one of the girls in the True Knot. He brought what's his name?
Starry
He's
Eyes?
not an. Yeah, well, yeah, sure. The girl from Alex Esso and Jocelyn Donahue, of course.
Jocelyn Donahue is great.
Yeah, two horror actresses.
But he didn't put his wife in this.
Independent.
Why didn't he put
No,
his wife?
he didn't. I don't know. Maybe she didn't want to be bothered with it. And then he brought
Nepotism.
back.
Maybe they didn't want to bring, like, maybe just separate themselves a little bit.
Yeah, Dr. John is from, what do you call it? He's I always want to call it Megan. What the hell is that movie? The other Stephen King movie. Gerald's. Every time I say Gerald's Game, I want to say Megan's Law. Every fucking time.
Yeah, Bruce Greenwood. He's a good actor. Bruce Greenwood. He's been around for a long time.
So
yeah, a lot. Yeah, it's like a family. You see a lot of people showing up in the movies. And the pain and the pain and fear purifying the steam. That's a horrifying thought.
What I found was episodic the first time I watched it did not bother me in the slightest. Upon second watch or third, I thought it's just such a grand story, a big story. That's what I'm saying. If you're not a fan of The Shining, it may be because you're confined to primarily one major location. And here you're going to everywhere, and then you get the Overlook as the icing on the cake.
Dude, when the rooms tilt and they slide into the floors and stuff. Oh my God, it's really cool visual stuff, and the score and the sound design, just haunting stuff. Yeah.
The way they use the score in this movie, taking the beats from The Shining in the moments that they put them in, was just brilliant. And the way he decided to isolate just the heartbeat from the freaking dream in The Shining, just take that little thing and play it over and over again throughout this movie. What a cool decision to put that in, man. Such good stuff. Just
great stuff. I love Abra versus Rose when they go inside each other's heads. I love the idea of inside the minds being file cabinets, and her place is a cathedral. It's really cool. The supermarket scene when she gets blown back, the chalkboards. I mean, there's so much great stuff. And also when they're talking, the True Knot is talking about how Grandpa Flick isn't doing well. Have you seen him? When they do open up a steam canister and he starts to take in more steam, you do notice his hair gets darker again.
Oh, that's cool.
It goes from white back to like its normal like brownish color.
But she was still hoarding because she was worried they were going to run out, correct?
Yeah,
we've got these things, but you're so worried about like
she's sort of in charge of it.
That must have been more expanded upon in the director's cut. I don't remember so much talk about there being less and less steam available in the world. Am I wrong? I feel like they talked about it more.
Part of it was, part of it wasn't. The one conversation happened in the original when they just said you're looking for the whale and there's less steam in the world, and I don't know what the reason is. That part remained in, but the other part later when they're in the trailer and they get more in depth on why she wants Abra and just the discussion on steam, that didn't happen initially. Like
the
basically
cow part,
there's like 3 or 4
part.
Yes, there's like 3 or 4 scenes that were added in. Correct, you can milk the cow. There was 3 or 4 scenes added in into deep discussion. Some that didn't happen at all, and some that were just expanded on. Like they expanded the conversation with Dick in the beginning. They expanded the conversation with Jack later on. And then other things weren't there at all. Like they didn't show the first scene when they went to the house with Abra and they met her father, which was great. Uncle, when they're like, Uncle Dan, she's 13. That whole scene is so realistic. You know what he's thinking. You know what I mean? But then, and this is the one part I thought they could have. I like that they put it in because one of my 2 complaints of this film, one of them was that Billy didn't at any time act like he was suspecting Danny of being the killer on the ride, because you all know if you were on that ride and someone's telling you, I know where a boy is buried and I'm going to dig him up and prove it to you, the first thing you're probably going to think is, well, you are the one that killed him, no matter how good you knew. So that never occurred to him. But later on,
don't they live right? Okay, sorry.
It's okay. But later on, when they do go to that scene, when they meet Abra's father, and he goes, he knew where he was, and you didn't think of that. Yeah. And he goes, I did, but not for long. Yes, but that scene was taken out initially. But the reason I like that I like the fact that they had that confrontation on the front lawn with Uncle Dan, and then Abra shows him, and then the very next scene is him pouring the drink, and his hands are shaking.
Yeah.
Because they add, which is brilliant, but because they add that little scene of introspection when he says that, you lose that, and then they cut to the scene, then he comes back and he has the drink. So and that's the only scene in the whole movie where I see a plus and a minus. Everything else that's added in, I think, was done. I think I'm glad they added it in.
And that speaks to the strength of Billy's character, that he never doubted him. I mean, he's known him at this point. It's been 8 years. He recognized him, at his worst, and he knows the character of this person. So for him to even suspect would have been a major fault if they had done that.
Well, but they have to drive across the country to get to him, too.
Oh, yeah, it took them all day to get there.
The guy doesn't have the ability to fly out, commit a murder, come back. So there's got to be he might be skeptical, going, "What the fuck is this guy taking me to?" When they find the body,
dude, when he's
freaked out.
But he says,
you can't suspect that he left and killed this guy and buried him down in the 1,000 miles away or whatever.
How far was the drive from New Hampshire to Iowa? Is that what it was? Because they're in New Hampshire. I think Baseball Boy was Iowa.
Yeah.
I don't know the geography. I didn't know how far away.
That's across the country.
Okay, I didn't know.
It's a long enough drive where they were driving for a long time. But I like the conversation they have where he basically says to him, "I can deal with it if you're crazy. Crazy, I can deal with." It's this other side. He's like, and even Danny says, "I know it's much worse."
Right. True.
And did you notice the address of the house, of Abra's house? 1980.
Yeah, 1980. And did you notice the number on the door when they went into the first guy's room, when the cat goes into the first old man's room, which they go to later where Dick's inside of it? Did you know what the number was?
Was it 217?
Yeah, 217, which is the book. In the Shining book, it wasn't.
In the book, it wasn't
217.
Yeah,
exactly.
I like that. You must have your wires crossed, Azzy.
Right, yeah.
And Dick's like, "This is the last time I'm going to see you."
Yeah, that was good. They pay your debt. And that whole thing.
Yeah, pay your debt. Great line. And he talks about eating screams and drinking pain. Oh, yeah. Dude. Eat screams, drink pain? Get the fuck out of here.
And they've been around for years, and he knows about it, and this and that.
Yeah.
Basically, they all shine, and they pick up on other people that shine, and they exploit it. That's all it is. Some people called them vampires, and I said, no, they all shine. That's how they know that these people shine. They get the vibe, and they discovered that if you eat from other people that shine, you'll live forever. That's it.
Yes, but they are dead too, because Andy does die. She initially dies.
Kill her. The difference with her is she was a human. She didn't shine to begin with. So they turned her into something different. They gave her the... See, I think I look at these people. They've never died. They've lived forever because they've discovered how to shine on more by taking the screens.
You notice when characters have questions, numerous times, at least 2, possibly 3, the response is something along the lines of, "Do you care?" or "What differences it make?"
I like that.
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
There was a couple times like,
Andy,
"Am I still human?" Snakebite asked, "Am I still human?"
Yep.
Do you care or whatever? And then, do they die in the box? Or
and Dick says, "Doesn't matter."
Do they die in the box or whatever.
Do you care?
Says, doesn't
Same
matter.
thing.
Or do you care? Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't know if that's a cop-out answer or a great answer, because I think it's a way to deal with a question we may all have.
I think I don't think it's a cop-out answer. I don't think it's a cop-out answer. I think it's because either way you look at it, it's dark and disturbing. So it's like, it doesn't matter how you look at it. It's all fucked up.
Cool. No, and I'm fine with that. It was interesting that at least twice I wrote down. For whatever reason, I feel like there may have been a third time it was used.
And I don't even mind that you don't really understand what everyone in the True Knot is. I do agree with the theory that that some people have said. Of course, they have to shine at some point. They pick up on it and they see it. But the idea of them being psychic vampires, psychic ability is one of the main things with Shining and being vampires is the fact that they don't die. Well, they do die, but they basically are immortal. They talk about them, in ancient times. You were a king. They're thousands of years old for all we know. We don't. So there's a lot there. But I like
eat well, stay young, live long. That's what she says. That's what she's promised, and that's
eat, pray, love. Eat, pray, love.
That too. But I mean, shit. That's what she means by eat. That's what she means by eat. Not necessarily all the food they're eating, but eating the steam.
And
getting
such a
that.
good dynamic among the True Knot. Even though, she was
they
in
take
charge
care
of
of each other.
Exactly. She was keeping the canisters and hoarding them, not for herself. That wasn't until everyone was, but because she wanted to make sure, that they had enough supplies. So she only opened the canister when it got dire. And the second in command, Crow Daddy, terrific. The scene where Danny takes over and he talks about how being arrogant to think you're gonna live forever, that you wouldn't put on your seatbelt. Beautiful.
So the seatbelt was always off there.
Because they showed it when Aber was looking at it. Because Aber was looking at the gun holster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were making fun of me there for a second. But he said a holster.
Oh, the hoister? The hoister?
I'm going to hoister.
I don't know why I said it like that. I know it's a holster. Anyway, I lost my train. Oh shit! What was I about to say?
Abra.
No, it's fine. I'll come back to
Danny taking the. Danny takes the wheel.
Danny takes the wheel.
Instead of Jesus, it's Danny.
That scene with Crow. Maybe it was Crow you were thinking of. Either way, I have to. What a highlight Abra is. This girl's performance. I cannot believe she's not a bigger star. I looked her up on the B. She hasn't really done all that much. I think one of the best performances.
I think she's just starting, and I wouldn't be surprised. In fact, she was supposed to be at the horror convention I was supposed to go to in March. She was supposed to be there, but they canceled it. It was right as COVID was breaking out, but she was supposed to be there. And I have a feeling we'll be seeing more of her because she's terrific.
Dude, she was so good.
The little girl version of Aber was adorable and was really
Looks
good.
Looks just like her. I thought they were related. I couldn't believe how much I had to look her up, but she's not a relative. I was like, it might be her sister.
Yeah,
they so much
horror fans have embraced this already, but this was not a mainstream. This wasn't a hit. So this is going to become a cult classic, just like all the other ones that we talk about nowadays that weren't hits upon the initial release that have been but a lot of times they were also ill-received even by the horror community or horror fans at the time and developed a following over the years. This one seems to have gotten a good fan base out of the gate. I was the one that seemed to be on the lower end of the spectrum saying, it's good, I like it. Everybody's like, oh, it's fantastic, it's great, boom, boom, boom. Fine, so be it. I've gotten there now, but I'm just saying it took a few viewings. I didn't have that. You saw it twice in the theater, Dave, correct? Or 3 times?
I did. No,
was this
twice,
2 times?
Twice in the theater. Twice.
So he did. My second view came right before the 100 show, and I had to watch it nefarious means. I had to download it because there was no there was no other way to see it. It was out of the theater, and I'm like, I got to give this a second chance. People are raving about it too much and whatever.
You pirate.
So I had to do it there. Yeah. Well, now I made up for it. So go fuck yourself.
Hey, I bought the 4K. This was my second view, and I was high on it from the first view. It made my top 19. It was my number 7, I believe, after just one view, and now I own it. Nice. This was my second view, and I'm gonna, it's not spoiler because we're already talking high about it. It would be much higher than number 7 if we were to redo our top 19. Much higher.
Well, this wasn't my top 19, but I think just at the very end. But it would make it much higher now.
Yeah.
Much higher.
Surprised the hell out of me. I wasn't expecting all that. And when it first was announced, I wasn't even all that excited. They can leave The Shining be. So the fact that it impressed the hell out of me. 40
years later, how did they do that? That's where I'm gonna give Flanagan superb job here. Just give him his accolades.
Part of it. Yeah, but because it could easily just fallen into fanboyism, and that's it. There's a beautiful balance here. Because you could have gotten shit for recreating scenes. He's recreating scenes of a classic film, yet it's done amazingly.
Dude, you know what? on the year-end show, I don't know if I said it when I announced this as, whatever number, I think 7, but when I announced it, I said my one critique with the recreations of anything was I didn't like the way the Grady girls sounded at the end, but that wasn't even a nitpick this time. I had no nitpicks with the recreated scenes at all, except for that, and even that now is off the table in terms of a nitpick.
I have one small one, and that's it. But I have 2 tiny things, and that's it. Everything else, I have no complaints. Right on.
What are they?
Well,
are
the
they
2
your testicles?
Yeah, tiny.
I doubt it.
2 tiny.
They're one of them is the blackboard, how it smashes on Red Rum like that, or Murder, whichever one it was, and how it's just gonna stay that way. This guy's renting at somebody's house. How's he gonna just fucking not clean that up?
You know what? I thought about that too.
What is that woman gonna think? She's gonna walk in the house. She's the landlord. She legally has the key. She can go in the room anytime she wants to check up on him. She can walk in the room and see murder on a fucking chalkboard on the wall. I think he would have cleaned that up somehow. But anyway, that's bothered me. And a little bit of the fan servicey stuff at the end, to the point I didn't like the fact that the guy wasn't British anymore. They says great
party, isn't it? Yeah.
If it's the same character.
Yeah, they should have just had him do the. Yeah, I agree with that, because I said to myself, that just doesn't sound right. But I agree with that. The chalkboard, the only reason why I kind of forgive it is because even though she was sort of nosy and untrusting at the beginning, we're 8 years later where he's been a model citizen and is probably friends. So, but I agree. It's like I was thinking that too. I'm like, put a fucking painting up over that. Put a sheet up.
If he's moving out, but this is where shit starts hitting the fan. She's not coming in to check on him at this point.
That's true.
So
I
mean, I would have nitpicked that maybe out of the gate, but upon watching this now 3 times, I don't think that's an issue, because you're right. At the beginning, she was like, okay, $85 a week. Let me make it easy for you. Here it is. Bum, done. But now it's 8 years later. He's been paying. He's been well. There's no reason to distrust this guy. How did they make the first connection, though? It's a blackboard. It just says hello. He just sees hello up there one day.
Hello with the smiley face.
His radio vibe just went up there.
Well, with the smiley face in the circle, though.
No, I know physically how it was done. How did they make a connection out of the gate? She just felt him, like the Force.
That's what I was thinking, but I can't answer right now. I don't know exactly how it happened.
There has to be an answer in there, because that would have been a major nitpick. There was something. He must have shined or something, and she picked up on it.
It's funny because I don't think there is anything that just happened like that, and yet I'm okay with it. Whereas I usually don't. This is where Dave would usually go, and what about this and what about that? I just let it go because she's strong. We realize as the movie progresses how strong she is. But this starts when she's 5, right?
I know what it is. I want to say it's the scene where the spoons are all stuck on the ceiling and they all drop to the ground, because they show a scene where he
jolts up, right?
He's on a bus. He's on a bus sleeping, and he jolts up, and at the same time, Rose the Hat, where she does this thing like something went up her spine.
It's a rippled effect across. Yeah, okay.
So they both got wind of her early, which makes sense. Those 3 are the most powerful ones in the world. It's like I said I think it was this when we did the top 100. It's almost like Yoda, the Emperor, and Anakin. to that extent, take your pick.
And she describes him as an imaginary friend, like a Tony.
Sure.
That's what she describes him as. She thought at the beginning, because remember, it starts after her 5th birthday. So I buy that. Would you explain?
Dude, a lot of times with The Shining. She describes things he's imaginary, like Dan thought Tony was. And also, at the end, Dan becomes... Why do I hear myself?
It just happened for a second.
Oh, okay.
Trust me, we have to hear it all show.
Also, at the end, Dan becomes Dick to Aber. That sounds wrong. But,
I like Dick.
Hey, Aber, I'm your Dick. I'm your Dick Callahan.
How about that, when she turns into him and her eyes turn blue and the way she delivers those lines, so dead.
What the fuck is going on here?
Happened. It just flicked off for a second. We're still recording. Everything's recorded. You're saying,
okay.
Talking about it and it just flicked off and then everything just changed. Very weird.
I know, that was weird. So yeah, when she swerved him off the road, or when he did whatever, and then she goes over there and she goes, I hope that hurts. I hope that hurts a lot. I love that. She's so vindictive. And then she's like, you all deserve it. When they're all getting fucking gunned down
Yes.
in that scene.
Oh.
Oh, I love it.
Dude,
She has that mean edge to
they're
her.
so evil. They're so evil with the things that they've been doing for so long, but yet they're so well developed, the characters, that you actually like. I almost like kind of felt bad when Grandpa Flick died. Like, it was kind of heartbreaking to watch, but at the same time, they've been killing children and stealing their steam for thousands of years. It's like, Jesus, or hundreds of years.
They respect each other so much. They have like a family dynamic.
Yeah.
They treat everybody else. They treat their group very well, and they have compassion for each other. It's just the fact that they do what they do to these other people, which is unfortunate.
I would travel with them because they have really nice caravans. You see the inside of those caravans?
I was saying it last night. I go, man. I go, look at that. I go, that's a trailer. I go, that thing looks beautiful on the inside. And then my daughter has some smart ass comment, of course, and say something. Oh, so you saying you want to live in a trailer now, Dad? I said no, but I do love the way that thing looks. I've never seen the inside of a trailer. Looks so
no
great.
inside of a trailer looks so nice. It's like got a living room. It's gorgeous in there.
Two things I want to bring up. It's again very small nitpick. I don't even know if it's a nitpick. It's just something about Snakebite's age.
Yeah.
Her age.
15.
15. I thought it was a little. She's maybe it's the life she lived. She seemed to have know too much, have been experienced too much at that age. But again,
modern day,
it's forgivable. Modern day, you're right.
Internet, the way she looks, the people that could have approached her, maybe the predators that have done it. Obviously, it's been again and again. It could happen. Look at you know what I think of? That movie. What's that great movie with Ellen Page?
Hard Candy.
Candy.
Hard Candy. How old was she in that movie? Same type of thing. You know what I mean?
I also buy it because she's an older soul. I mean, look, she meets the first guy that she victimizes watching Casablanca. Well, how many 15-year-olds are watching 1940 classic films, which I love. It's kind of heartbreaking because she has this really, she's watching this movie and she's almost has this idea of like romance and love, even at 15, but it's all been destroyed by perverts. And that's why that revenge she gets on that guy with the snake bite. And every time you see it in the mirror or whatever, you're going to say, I like little girls. Oh my God.
Awesome.
Jesus. That's brutal. I would have been like, just fucking kill me.
I remembered one more nitpick. In the very beginning of the movie, Violet's death, which everything about that is wonderful. The way it's played out, the conversation. You don't eat them. Oh, but you do. All that stuff is great, but they make it look very suspicious. For no reason they do this. This is strictly for the viewer, but doesn't make any sense in the context of the film. She's sitting there talking to Violet, trying to seduce her. I have a magic hat, this, that, the other thing. Then all of a sudden, one of the True Knot appears. Yeah. And then a second later, 3 of them are there. It's like, why are you coming off like you're trying to be scary?
That's cinematic scare. That's cinematic scare.
It's a cinematic scare, right?
I'm okay with it because I love that. I understand. Like again, from the context of trying to win a little girl over and take her soul or whatever like that. Yeah, not needed. But they come in on her and it's the above shot. It's pretty fucking creepy.
What they needed to do was establish that this is an evil group because Rose at that point seems like she's going to be a good character. But if they had left the True Knot out and just had like Rose like all of a sudden turn real sinister and maybe grab her herself without having the rest of them appear, would have been just as effective. But I kind of like it.
I'm fine that they
You just don't like the way they appeared.
The way that they appeared one at a time, looking sinister, staring. That's what I'm saying. So, oh, don't worry, that's just my friend. Because then I don't know if this happens in the regular cut. I know for a fact in the director's cut it does. You see her bleeding when she's squeezing her arm. I didn't notice it till last time, but when she's squeezing Violet's arm, all of a sudden you see blood flowing in between the cracks of Rose's fingers. I'm like, wow, she's freaking digging right in there. Yeah, that was some sick stuff. That poor girl. Oof.
And I brought it up when we were talking about The Shining. I said I'd get back to it when we were doing Dr. Sleep. His little monologue when he's talking to his dad at the Overlook later on, and his dad just goes on the rant. I said, Dave, this is kind of what we were talking about last week, or the last episode or 2 episodes ago, where we're saying like, you spend your last dollar, you're doing this, that, and the other thing, and you get no respect, like or whatever. I'm like, wow, that's like being a dad.
That is to a degree.
Well, that hit home.
Dude, Henry Thomas was fantastic.
Listen to that, B.
As Lloyd / Jack / whoever he was.
I'm so glad because I like him as an actor. I didn't even realize it was him until this viewing. And
Right.
it's amazing because I love them. I love Cloak and Dagger. It's one of my favorite movies.
I love Cloak
saw
and
it as a
Dagger
kid.
too.
It's such a great movie, and you just want him to do more. And he did stuff there as a kid, and then he kind of didn't do anything else. He did like an Alex Winter movie, Fever, and then not really much more. And he's great in this.
Dabney Coleman show next week.
There you go.
But let me highlight the performances of Alex Esso emulating her as well, emulating Wendy. It is so spot on. I guarantee, well, we know this. She watched the movie when he is sitting outside. First of all, when he's talking to Dick, casting the perfect guy to play Dick Halloran, that was beautiful. When he's sitting on the park bench having that conversation with Dick, and then when she runs out and she's like, Danny, the way she sounds is just like 100% like The Shining.
I know.
And the scene in The Shining, when she goes, you scared me half to death, that was taken right from The Shining. And then the scene, I realized it this time watching The Shining, when he comes back and he's sucking his thumb after he comes back from 237, and she grabs him from the side. When Wendy grabs Danny's shoulders and then embraces him, it is the exact mannerisms, the exact every delivery that was done in that scene, she did in that scene outside of their house when they come running out. It was so spot on. I can't get over how good it was.
Seeing back to back really drove that home for sure.
Yes.
You almost think they used sound bites for it, but they didn't. The only
Right.
scene that I heard that was used was the elevator with the blood.
Sure.
So even B, I'm not even sure, even though it looks identical, and I thought maybe they just timed it differently with the meaning they made it look like night. Visually was the shot, the helicopter shot before the outlook, because it looked identical to the Shining just at night. So I thought almost
it had to be.
But I heard it was only the elevator was the only shot they used.
Yep, it was reshot. Yeah, you could tell tiny bit. Yeah, but I mean, that was, and speaking of that shot with the elevator, I want to point out something small that not everybody knows unless you're a fanatic of The Shining like me. But the way she looks at, first of all, the robe. Let me talk about the robe. Jack is wearing a blue robe in The Shining. It's funny because I was watching the movie last night, and I have a blue robe that they gave me for my birthday, and they said, look, it looks just like Dad's robe. Dad is Jack. I'm like, wow, it was crazy how close it was. Then in this movie, Wendy is wearing that blue robe in the beginning. It's like, oh, that little tiny tie-in. Then they show the door open up from the inside. You're on the inside watching the doorknob turn and the door open, and it's when Danny is going in that bathroom where he sees the girl. The exact same thing happens in The Shining when Danny opens the door. Little shots, little things like that. But what I was ultimately getting at was this smile that Jack does. And when Jack is in The Shining and he's talking to Grady, and Grady's giving him the information in the bathroom, he does this little thing where he cracks a smile. It's like a look like this. He's just like, and then it kind of fades away. It's like it's half serious and he's half happy about it. And he does this look, which, because I've seen the movie so many times, I know it. That is the exact same look that Rose the Hat gives when she sees the blood coming out of the elevator when she sees it. She mimics Jack's smile in that scene to a T. The way her smile cracks and then she goes back. It's fucking crazy, but unless you're a fanatic like me, you don't catch on. And it also is the opposite effect that it has on Wendy. When Wendy sees the blood coming out of the elevator in The Shining, her look is pure terror, and Rose's look,
which it should be.
Rose is like, oh, that's cute.
Joy.
Rose,
yes.
Rose is like, that's cute. Yeah.
It is so fucking well done that I had to point that out. That the thought that went into even a little smirk, a little look on Jack's face in that scene is mimicked by Rose in that scene there. It's fucking amazing.
Okay, here's where I got to bring up something about the novel, and Watson brought it up on the year-end show, and he said something about how he prefers the novel simply because of one scene in particular where Danny gets his sort of closure with his father. And they don't do that here because he tries to have the conversation with him, and he's just too far gone.
Right.
But he tells the story about what happened to his mother. Talks about the death flies. Talks about not being able to look at her. Talks about how she knew that and stuff like that. And that's why I think that this film didn't need the redemption with the father. It needed the closure he had with his mother in the boiler room. And that's why I think that this was perfect, the way it changed from the novel. That scene in the boiler room with his mother is exactly what he needed, to be able to look her in the eyes as he's about to die.
Yeah, he had no
Because
relationship with his dad. Like, well, he did, but it was
Well, no,
5
but
years.
in the novel, he
Yeah.
he gets closure with his father, which makes sense and is kind of nice. But here, it's all about his mother, because his mother is the one who saved him and gave him a life, and died young, and he wasn't able to look her in the eyes, and he felt bad about that. But at the end, they're both looking each other in the eyes as he dies, and I think it's just poetic, beautiful, and
it's great. You're right.
It's amazing. I think it's perfect.
You're right. And I'll go a step further. They put upon that whole about looking in the eye thing because Abra says that her parents couldn't look her in the eyes.
Exactly.
And so she holds back on showing her on her shine. And there's that one part when Danny tells her don't shine anymore, and it's all about her grandmother who she knows is gonna die. But the girl asks her mother, is Momo gonna make it? And you could tell, and I didn't realize it till this time, that she holds back. She wants to say, I don't think she's going to make it, but she doesn't want her parents to be afraid of her anymore, so she pretends she doesn't shine anymore.
And she even says, tell her I love her, like she knows.
Yes,
right. Yeah.
She holds
and
it back.
He becomes he becomes a new Halloran, right?
Correct.
In a sense,
And he tells her, shine on, and then and she immediately opens up to her mother in the last scene. The only thing that doesn't make sense, I know we haven't really gotten to the Overlook at the end and all that, but the only thing that doesn't make sense to me is with the final showdown in the Overlook and Abra talking about afterwards that the hotel went up in flames and the Overlook was purified. Why is the naked woman in her bathroom when her spirit had been destroyed in the hotel fire?
Well, because it's only the physical presence of it. That doesn't mean anything. She's still a spirit. You know what I'm saying? She's not locked in a box.
Yeah, she's not locked in a box. I love that.
But they had but he unlocked them in the hotel, and then the hotel was destroyed. And she even said the hotel was destroyed, purifying it, which made it sound like all the spirits were gone. Not that maybe one escaped, and that's fine. Maybe the old lady escaped. I thought it was like sort of like a wink, and I still loved it, but I couldn't and it made sense. She's my dad's like, what's she doing? Why's she going in? I'm like, she's going to drop a deuce.
It's the same.
Well, I think she was going into I think she got the
box her up. Box her up.
Exactly. But you're right. From a purification standpoint, it wasn't necessary. But it's one little last.
No, I like it, even though I have no issues with it, even though it kind of was like, well, if that purified it, why is she there? I just thought of it. Okay, maybe one escaped, and that's it.
That's fine. And they just did it so they could mimic the scene that Danny did it earlier on in the movie.
Exactly.
And now she's doing it. And it's a good way to end the movie. And shine on, where that comes from, right? Shine on, Abra, and all that shine on talk.
Yeah, from
Lennon.
Lennon, yeah.
And that's why King wrote the book. He based it on that
Instant Karma.
Song. Instant Karma's going to get you. Yeah. Right. And there's so much other stuff. I mean, we can't get into everything. We know that. I like that they have the extra scene in the bathroom, like the Grady scene.
Yeah.
They do it in this one, except this time it's Lloyd, aka Jack.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. And that's what I thought. That whole scene was added. Exactly.
Yep.
That was I don't remember and they recreate that beautiful red.
Wasn't that yeah.
Yep.
That thing was red, yeah.
How about her hand when it gets caught in the card catalog thing and how she gets thrown? And the astral projection scene is fucking amazing.
I love when she gets thrown back.
She travels. That's what I'm saying. When she gets thrown back, but how she gets there and how she flies on the side, the way that shot is fucking done when she's traveling across the fucking country. Oh, dude.
I love it when
funny. I didn't like that in the theater. I actually didn't like that in the theater. Wow. I thought it was. I just thought it was weird at the time. I just didn't, I didn't like it.
You know why you think it's weird? I know exactly why, because I kind of laugh every time I see it too, even though I love it. I think of Half-Baked when they get stoned and they fly to go see Kenny.
Maybe that's it. Maybe
it's very good. It's very good.
Like, couldn't they have done this a bit differently? But again, upon multiple views now, I have no problem with it. But again, it was kind of a nitpicky thing when I first saw it.
A film of this magnitude, you have to use, the CGI and stuff like that. You can't recreate some of these things practical. So people got to chill with the nitpicks of certain CGI factors. Even though we just pointed out a few, it's not taken away from our enjoyment of it.
And on that note, I had no problem with the ghosts recreated for the end scene, which I did a little bit. I thought a little of them looked a little weird when I first saw it in the theater, but again, no issue.
Yeah,
Nor
me
was she.
either. I love that. I love that when he frees them and they just rip apart Rose. That is such a fantastic scene. It is such
Oh,
a
yes, it is. It is great.
what
At first, it
what
bothered me. It was too much at once.
Yeah.
I love it.
but what is he say? I should have wrote down the dialogue. He says something like, like, oh, you forgot about them or something, and they're starving or something like
Yeah.
that. He
Yep.
says
Well, that's
something
it.
that's just
What
it's
it
so
boils down
poetic.
to.
They're starving, and then they grab her.
No,
and-
no, no. She says,
What-
"What? I want to know what else is in your mind," because he was holding
Oh
it
yeah,
back. He didn't want her to know.
yeah.
And
What
he,
was in those
what's going?
boxes? What was in those
What's
boxes?
in there? What are you hiding? And she goes, and she thought it was going to be something good. And I forgot what he says. He goes, and they're starving. And then they
Yeah.
come out. They are
Oh.
starving, oh ghost. That's what Dick tells them.
Yeah.
How about the wind in the background? In The Shining, there's certain scenes when you just hear the wind go throughout the whole time. And then there's a scene in this movie when I think it's the second scene with the old man dying. I forgot what it was, but you hear wind blowing in the background.
Yes.
Like as if it's outside, just like they did in The Shining. There was so many cool little throwbacks that you don't necessarily think about unless you're, a steamhead like me. And what's his name called?
Steamhead. Yeah.
Dude, I
steamhead.
love the way he gets the Dr.
Oh.
Sleep name. I love the interactions he has with those patients. I love the way, he wants to leave and always get help for someone else. And he's like, no. And the patient's like, you're exactly where you're supposed to be.
Yep.
Oh, man, it's just, tugs at the heartstrings, the smell of the blueberries. I mean, there's
Right.
so much. There's so much.
Yeah.
You could honestly talk about The Shining and Dr. Sleep. It's almost like these films are meant to be like analyzed literally scene by scene, which would probably take about 15 hours each movie, but you could do
Right.
it because
True.
every
How-
scene is well thought out.
How about they go back to Durkin's garage in this one just for a second? They show it from part one.
Yes,
The garage where he
yes.
gets the snowcat, Durkin's garage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cool. Just all these
Yeah.
little tie-ins, It's
Dude,
some people only
the
see as fan service.
Dr. John's office is the exact thing as Ullman's office. I mean,
And it's an interview, and they're both being interviewed.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
for two
interviewing him
different
for
things.
the orderly job. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
interesting.
So
I didn't draw that comparison. That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. Isn't that cool? And that she shook a whole street, that she had that much power, and that brought them to there. Oh, man. And I think that she's afraid.
That's awesome.
Ultimately, I think
you're right.
that Rose is afraid. That's why she doesn't want to turn her, because she's afraid that if she brings her on that side, because she's like, oh, we can't have a true knight with that much power. Why? Because she would overpower her. That's when she's selfish. That's the only time she's
Yeah.
truly selfish, is that scene, because she doesn't want her to come in and then I'm leading the group, because that's what would happen. She's just that powerful, So I understand what they're doing.
I even like the dialogue that she uses, like right at the end, like right when Dan's chasing her throughout the hotel, and he's like, "You forgot one thing. You forgot who you're in. It's Dan Torrance." Like that's a really, really great dialogue in this film.
Yeah, she's great. Lots of great dialogue and lots of perfect callbacks. They did it all the right way.
Yeah.
They married everything. I think they made King happy. I think they made Kubrick fans happy. I don't care that it wasn't a big hit at the box office. This is for us. This is for huge fans of The Shining.
You know what? I wonder if it was a hit at the box office, if you'd have a bunch of people saying, "Oh, I don't like this movie," because it became mainstream.
Certain horror fans for sure.
And you probably
Right.
would.
There
I hate that.
is that contingent.
There is, and that's a shitty contingent.
Yeah, it sucks. And it's all about paying a debt, this movie. You have a debt, pay it. It comes through over and over. And I love the fact that Danny quieted it the whole movie. He quieted his shine by drinking.
Yeah.
Same thing that basically I say that Jack did. It was the drinking. And that's what brought him closer to his father. That's how he had the connection with his father. He felt that way. He drank, and that was his only connection to him. And something that Stephen King said about the end of this movie, about the end of The Shining, he goes, Kubrick made everything cold, and at the end of the movie, he froze the Overlook. He goes, I made the outside cold, but I made the characters warm. And at the end, the place ended in flame. It was all about warm. My mind was warm. He was cold. This is what King was saying about him and Kubrick about Kubrick's film. But Flanagan did it right by making the end of this movie warm and by making the ultimate payoff be warmth. Don't be afraid. Yes. Shine on.
Yeah.
Do what you got to do. Pay your debts. And the real ghosts are your memory. He goes, you can't lock them up. Remember when Dick said that? He tried to send Dick away when he showed up because I think that woman was already dead in her bed. because she was puked. She had OD'd. I don't think he
Yeah,
realized.
she was dead. I felt bad that he kind of left the baby and stuff, but
I don't think
didn't
he knew she
know.
was dead.
I don't think
No,
he
he
knew
did.
she was dead either.
No, he didn't. He
sad.
didn't.
Yeah.
He was, he was fucked up too, and he was, he took her money and stuff like that. But yeah, when he tried to lock that up, when Dick says, yeah, I brought that up earlier when he said he couldn't lock up the
Can't
memories.
lock
That's
memories.
a great line.
They're the real ghosts, and you got to carry
Yeah.
them. But
Yep.
you know what I mean? That's what's great. And the thing is, when they wake up later and he sees them in bed, and what they say, and she's like, they were used to hearing him crying, so they didn't think nothing of it, and they haven't found us yet. That was fucking haunting. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Just don't have the talking baby go, mommy. That's
See,
the
I
only
like
thing you
it. That
didn't
makes
need.
it more scary to me, but that's me, I guess. I don't
No,
know.
just the way she kind of rolled him over, you could see like his face was like you could see he was dead. Like, but that was enough.
Yeah.
That's fair.
It's like the
And that
baby
one thing-
crawling at Ewan McGregor in Trainspotting. Too much dead baby. Just surrounded by dead babies.
Can't have too many of those. One's enough, as far as I'm concerned. Right?
Can't have too many of those.
Shit, man.
You gotta
So, yeah.
sum it up. We're getting long here.
Yeah. Dr. Sleep. Yeah, we are getting along. You're right. We're getting along.
Long in the tooth.
Oh, is it? Wow, I can't believe I was going to say that, too. Holy, did you ever hear that song? Long in the tooth, long in the tooth. If you watch The Price is Right, then you're damn long in the tooth. Anyway. It's a song by Les Claypool. Les Claypool and
Oh, okay.
the Frog Brigade. Oh, yeah. Check it out. Purple Onion. But anyway, yeah. God, oh, what a movie. Nothing's changed for me. I can't give it a 10 out of 10. I cannot go that high, but I can give it a 9.5 out of 10, so there it shall stay.
Nice. I thought for sure, for whatever reason, I thought it was a 10 out of 10, but I
Nope.
like your rating. I'm a 9 out of 10, which means I went from a 7 to an
Wow.
8 to a 9 on each
Fuck.
viewing.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
It's
And
amazing.
And I think I was a 9 out of 10 the first time. But you know what? I had such an amazing experience with this, and I love it. 10 out of 10.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Oh,
10
shit.
out of 10.
Does
I don't
that-
care.
It makes it then, right?
Yeah, it makes it.
Two
Hell yeah, it
Hall
makes
of
it.
Famers.
I
Oh,
wasn't.
man.
I'm sorry. This movie's too good to not be in the Hall of Fame. My father said he loved this more than The Shining.
Wow. What's a
There
different
are
movie?
people on our page
Yeah.
that I've already voiced that, and when they said they're looking forward to the show, so that's
Yeah.
fine.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dude,
Except for
it's a completely different type of movie.
I think
Completely
but it's weird how they're perfect
So what?
together
I
weird
agree.
how
They are
because
perfect
of that passing of time. I mean, look, you're separating.
Yep.
You're 40 years apart, and it works because you had a
Does.
5-year-old. So he's it makes sense.
Man, awesome. Well, 2 Hall of Fames.
Well-
How about that? We did it.
Yep.
2 Hall of Fames, an epic episode, I think. I mean,
Yeah.
I think we for the length of show, I think we deep dive enough without going into, like Brandon said, frame by frame or scene by scene dissection. It was we did it the way we do it. I think we go all over the place. We don't go literally.
Linearly.
Literally.
Linearly.
Yeah,
Linear.
what a fucked up word.
Linear.
That, you said it.
Literally.
Linearly. It's.
Shut up, both of you. You already said.
Did anyone say it? Is that even a word?
I think you,
You didn't
did
go.
say
You didn't
it.
go in a linear fashion.
Thank
There you go. There you go.
Took a Porky Pig. Bah, 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 bah. That's all, folks.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Nothing but love. We love you
that
very
is, yeah, that is all. That's all, folks.
That's what I'm saying.
You say
You
anything,
see?
Brandon? You can say
Peace out,
goodbye.
everyone. We love you.
Next show, we're doing The Den, we're doing The Void, and we're doing Bone Tomahawk. There's your homework. Yeah, time to cut it.
Take
Okay.
care.
Rose the hat, Christian the fedora.
Love yous. Peace.